And the What is shaking, everybody? Happy Tuesday. And I don't very often do Tuesday shows, but we make exceptions around here when the right person shows up on a Tuesday. And in this case, the right person showed up on a Tuesday. Mike Silver, good friend of mine, known him for a long, long time. One of the best there is at covering the NFL. You can read his stuff in The Athletic, especially if you want to see what's going on with camps and all kinds of good stuff. And we'll talk a lot about what he's been doing, what's going on with the Niners and around the NFL. But before we get to that, let's thank our sponsor, Fieldwork. Thank you very much. Cheers, Mike.
I'd like to think this is a prelude to Taco Tuesday. I think we'll get there eventually.
It could be. We got the designer nugs out today, the pale ale. We got a bunch. I just stopped by Fieldwork, so we'll do a little taste testing today.
They're not paying me to say this, but Fieldwork is elite, man. It is. It's never not really good.
Yep.
And then sometimes you're just like, this is strong.
Yeah, no, I'm a big pale ale guy. And they didn't do pale ales for a while. And they just came out with this one, and I dig this one. The name, I told them the name's a little wonky. I'm not sure about designer nugs.
I think
that one's a little.
I think if it was called like Mr. T West Coast Pale,
oh, there you go.
I would just crush those. Yeah, this is beautiful. Good can.
Yeah, it's a beautiful can. Beautiful can.
We may have another can in our future.
Oh, I think we're going to. That's why we're doing the smaller pours.
Yeah,
we can try more beers, try different styles of beers. So thank you very much to Fieldwork for sponsoring the show. As I've said, and I'm going to be like just about everybody on social media, I'm going to say this without any factual knowledge, but I feel like it's true. The best beer garden in the Bay Area, maybe even the country. The beer garden is right there in McCovey Cove across from the ballpark. Like maybe you could beat it. I don't know how you beat it. And then you got Mission Rock over there that serves incredible food that I want to go check out. So head on over to Fieldwork, pick up some beer, and make sure you're there the last Friday of the season. We're going to be out there doing a show live from the beer garden. We're going to be celebrating everything Mike Krukow. So we're going to try to have guests on talking about Mike. We're going to talk about Mike, and it's just going to be all about Mike. Fieldwork's going to have a special beer for Mike called Grab Some Pine Meat, which is going to be grab some pine meat, not grab some pine meat. I don't even know what pine meat is. I'm not sure what it is.
Punctuation.
Yeah, I got to stop. Yeah, grab some pine meat. So
especially like right now, like people might take it the wrong way around here. I don't know.
So boom.
Here we go.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. Thank you to Fieldwork for doing that. That's awesome. I can't wait to get out there and do that and celebrate Mike Krukow. And speaking of Mike Krukow, he's going to be joining us during the playoffs. So during the Major League Baseball playoffs, Mike will be joining us and talking some baseball. So I love the baseball playoffs, and it'll be fun talking with Mike. All right, before we get started, football stuff. First order of business on today's show. I'm going to raise a glass to the legend, Dolly Parton.
Oh man, I just learned when I parked my car, bro. Well, first of all, what an incredible life and career.
From poverty to get to where she ended up, my goodness gracious.
So we could talk about the incredible catalog of songs, the movie stint in 9 to 5 that was kind of iconic for people of our age.
She's kind of the sassy one.
I would start with Dolly, and listen, a lot of people have a lot of things to say. She's a legend, but to me, it's so rare in this era and even in the previous era that we kind of come from, where there is a massively famous person who is almost, if not universally regarded as someone that people think is a great person.
Yeah.
Like Dolly, and she exuded it in her public persona, but like she apparently was just a wonderful, wonderful human being.
She made me smile every time I saw her.
Yeah.
Every time I listened to an interview, she just seemed like a bright light.
Yeah.
Like that's what she seemed like. That's what she seemed like she brought into into the world, into any room she was in, just made people smile, made people feel good
Yeah.
about themselves, made people feel a little bit better about their situation. Now, I can't say I listened to a lot of Dolly. I listened to a little bit.
Yeah.
My dad grew up in Alabama, so I listened to a little bit of country when I was growing up, and she'd been a big star for a long, long time. But just she's one of those people you don't have to love the catalog of songs or listen to her to love her.
Yeah.
And love what she brought to the world.
Yeah. And you're right. And she also, like, she did a few duets there, outside of the genre.
Yep.
Where I was
Islands in the Stream.
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers. Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but that's the one I remember.
I think she and Linda Ronstadt did some stuff in the
heyday.
She did
just about everything.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, like she fits in with all of it. Yeah, I agree. I wasn't like, when I do country, it's usually more like, Johnny Cash or Lucinda Williams, or like, either darker, more classic, or like, more rock overtones. But, her songwriting is exceptional.
Yeah.
It's all good. And she, I know she wasn't like a preachy person, but when she did, she seemed to stand for the things that most of us agree are the good things, dignity in people, equality, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, cool. I believe she wrote Whitney Houston's most famous song, didn't she?
Did she really?
I believe she did.
Wow.
And I can hit that note. No, I can't.
Yeah,
there's one person that can hit that note, and she's no longer.
I was going to say, and she's
the only person that can hit that note.
I mean, Mariah, maybe in her head.
I think I remember an interview one time with Dolly Parton. She said, "Yeah, that song ended up where it needed to end up, with Whitney Houston."
Yeah.
Because when you listen to Dolly Parton sing it, like, it's a good song, it's solid. You listen to it, go, "Oh, yeah, I like that song." And you listen to Whitney sing it, like, holy shit, that's like,
it's a rocket ship.
That's like unbelievable. Like the notes that she can hit is just like, whoa.
I wonder,
wow.
I wonder at what age Whitney Houston like had this self-realization, like, I guess I have to be a singer. Like, it probably was a pretty young age where she just was like, that wasn't like a thought out process. Like, I wonder what I'm going to do for a career.
She was probably walking around the house one day and like somebody stepped on her toe and she went, ah! And she went, oh shit. Well, I can hit that note. Like the dog, like fucking 4 neighborhoods over, is like, whoa, what was that?
When did you know that? When did you know you had to be a basketball player?
I don't know that I ever had. I felt like I had to, but I loved it from probably the age I was 4, 3. I got the little basketball hoop and everything, but I had a full.
Did you know that you were going to be like this giant, long, wide, like,
No, I just knew I loved sports.
Yeah.
Because I had a full Rams get up too.
Oh,
I
wow.
had the shoulder pads, the Merlin Olsen.
I had the Niner one, but in LA. Well, I was the only Niner fan in LA. But I'll tell you one thing: when after the catch, I was 16, and I had this jersey from the kit. It's number 44.
40.
And it was really hard to get into because the kit was from like when you're really young. And I got into it on the Monday after the catch, and got it so I could wear it to school because I've been getting crap from all the Ram fans for all these years. And the guy who drove me to school, my late friend Brazzi Lunetta, was the nephew of Butch Johnson. So he had been at the game.
Cowboy wide receiver.
California Quake. So Butch Johnson played in that game.
That wasn't a catch, by the way.
Yeah, Brazzi had been in the stadium at Candlestick, and he had to pick me up in his little Rabbit with a couple other people. And when he pulled up, he knew it was coming. He saw me in that jersey, and he just kept right on driving. Went around the block and picked me up, but he was not in a good mood.
Yeah, I had the full Rams. I had shoulder pads. I had thigh pads.
Was it the blue and yellow or the blue and white?
No, it's blue and white.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Roman Gabriel.
Yeah,
Merlin Olsen.
That's my favorite.
So here's the problem, though. You get the helmet. I asked my parents. I said, "Look, I want what they wear. I want the real stuff."
Yeah.
So I got the helmet. Got the shoulder pads and the jersey that you pull over, and then you realize no one else has it.
Yeah, who are you gonna run into?
What am I gonna do?
You needed me.
What am I gonna do? So you know what I did? I just would hike myself to football, and then I would run into the tree, like with my shoulder. I'd run into the tree with my shoulder and then like spin off of it.
I mean, as someone who met you when you were like 18 or 19, that does track. Like, it doesn't feel, because how old were you when you did it? Like 10?
Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
like nothing else. I was like,
it hadn't been that long, and I remember the way, like when Kerr introduced me to you, I remember, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that tracks.
Yeah, the tree was stout. It was stout.
The tree was
stout. It was
stout.
hard to get any push on the tree.
Did you try to wrap it up?
I tried. No, the tree just wasn't. The tree was tough. It was like that big guy in the longest yard that stood there. Like he just couldn't move him.
And you know what? 10 years later, Lute Olson was like, I think I can get a Final Four team together with this kind of guy.
There you go. I like that. I like guys that run into trees when they're younger.
All
right, let's get to some football stuff. Let's get to the Niner news that Jed York or Joe York, depending on which way you want to go. Mike, I talked about this yesterday. And real quick, I'll just set it up for people that don't know what I said yesterday. I said, off the top, I really don't care about the whole prostitution thing, except for the fact the human trafficking thing makes it it makes it nasty. But if it's a woman that wants to do it, wants to sell her body for flesh, as unsavory as that may seem to you, it's the world's oldest profession for a reason. Like, I just don't care. I don't care, and I didn't know at the time that they were going through a possible divorce, Jed and his wife. But I don't really care about that either. I'm like, okay, what do I care about? The human trafficking aspect of it is really, like I said, that to me turns my stomach. And if there's anything else that comes out about this that makes it seedier, then I'll address it. But my whole thing was, bro, you fucking own a pro football team. What are you doing at the Wheat Hills trailer? My grandparents lived at a trailer park. What are you doing at a trailer park? What are you doing in the papers for an ad for 100? Like, you just have somebody come to you? Like, why? What? I don't. That part I couldn't wrap my head around. Like, what? Like, but I mean, like Robert Kraft was in a massage parlor. You can't explain people. Like, no matter what kind of money you have, everybody's different, and everybody has their own like turn-ons, whatever it is. And I won't judge. You do what you do. But man, when there's so much to risk, Mike, I was like, you seemingly put yourself in a lot of jeopardy, and ultimately paid the price.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel very similarly to you. I'm not very judgmental about the act itself. No. I know Jed really well. I know how much he loves his sons, and
yep.
I guess I would just say, first of all, we've gotten some news now on a divorce filing, like whatever he's going through on the family side, like I think that could play with your mind a little bit, and so maybe it's not the normal Jed decision making.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned Robert Kraft. Yeah, you would say that was the day before an AFC Championship game that his team was in Kansas City.
Got to loosen up, man.
Yeah.
Be tight for the game.
Maybe in the future people will not cut corners on, these, and maybe try to go a little higher end. And
that's what I said, Mike. You don't take the bargain route on surgeons and hookers. I mean, those are words to live by.
This is why he sits in this chair. And
there's just certain things you pay more for.
A surreal offseason for the 49ers, but that obviously Kyle, thank God Kyle's okay. And, that was really scary. Ayuk, every post is a new adventure.
That guy needs someone to help him out.
Needs help.
All right, let me ask you. Let's go back to Jed.
Yeah.
How does this affect the Niners? How does it affect his ownership? How does it affect what's going on? Like, from a player standpoint, I've told people, look, I don't know the way the saying goes. Like, I know the Marine Corps has a saying like God, unit, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
What is it? Find it for me, Max, so I don't screw it up. My buddy's a Marine. I'm not a Marine. It's like God, unit, core, country, fam, something like that. Anyway, point being is, as a player, the players are the most important thing to you. And then you expand that out to include the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And then you expand that out to include the front office. And then you expand that out for everybody in the organization. But as far as a player is concerned, you got too much to deal with to worry about what's going on at that level. But I'm wondering, from your standpoint, Max, what do you got for me?
Unit, core, God, country.
God's
Unit,
third.
Core, God, country. So yeah, the unit. Like that's my point. Is like when you're a player, that's the unit.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing to you. And the core would be like the organization. Like then next. I don't think God really fits into the whole thing. Like
it's weird to put him third.
We didn't go team front office.
God, you got the bronze.
God, hey, you finished head of country. Well done. But you didn't finish head of the unit or the core.
Maybe just don't mention God if it's not going to be first.
He's like third. Are you kidding me? Third, really? Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. Good luck in your battle. Third, but what do you mean third?
I see what you're saying. Though.
How does it affect the organization?
First of all, I think you have a very forgiving constituency when it comes to this particular crime. And as you said, human trafficking, all that, that's a horrible thing. But if it's just a prostitution thing, like that constituency is not going to sit there and be super judgy about. And I think if you're not liked as a boss and that happens, it's really bad. But when you are liked as a boss and you have a good organization, I think that part internally is going to be okay all the way through the organization. It's not his proudest moment, but look, he's going through some stuff, obviously, on the family side. People make mistakes. If this had happened when Jed was coming off the Harbaugh, Tomsula, Chip Kelly, firing, I think it would have been weaponized against him more. This is an owner who has been one of the best owners in the league for, almost a decade. The organization's doing great. He's got stability with the GM and an elite head coach. They've been to 2 Super Bowls and come close. They've been in contention almost every year, even last year with that run of injuries. He has spent more cash by what I've read than any owner in pursuit of victory over the last 5-6 years. They've had a few tough contract negotiations, but they've generally taken care of most of their players, some of whom in retrospect they regret. Ayuk being one of them.
You don't get them all right.
Yeah, and I think, I think Jed's been pretty good about, being a stand-up guy, expressing his values, empowering his coach and GM and players to be their best. And so I do think that all goes a long way. When you say how will it affect the organization, my only concern would be within the York family is, Denise DeBartolo York once was a more involved owner post Eddie. John York was once the guy in town running things, and those are his parents. But they're also the stewards of the organization too, and they go back even further. Obviously, Eddie, there were a lot of rough edges. This would have been a jaywalking ticket for Eddie, and I say that affectionately. But I think maybe there's some internal discussions that will go on. To me, not knowing things, it feels more like, hey, Jed, you're going through some stuff. Divorces are brutal. You're away from your kids. Let's have a conversation about how we, can best function right now, owning a family business. I don't think it'll be a thing in the locker room in the same way that when Mike Vrabel talked to his team in April and said whatever he said, I don't think that was a constituency that was like, yeah, coach, you need to clean it up. I think they were like, yeah, cool. We get you.
They didn't care.
They didn't care.
And they did. Most players have done worse.
100%.
Not most. I shouldn't say most. That's unfair. But there have been some. The only concern I have with the 49ers instability is which direction, and I have no idea how it's going to go. And again, I don't care from a personal standpoint how the divorce goes. That's not for them to decide how that's going to go. But how does that affect the team? And does it affect the finances? And does it affect Jed's ability to run the team and have the finances to run the team after that? I mean, I guess that's the one, concern if you're a Niner fan. Like, if you like this, you like the ownership group and you like what they've done and you'd like to see it stay intact, I guess that would be the issue. Is like, okay, how do the divorce proceedings affect his ownership?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I don't know enough about the structure. My sense is, given the way that family has cared about the team and presided over it, and that's dating all the way back to Ed DeBartolo Sr. really helping Eddie, get in that position way back when. Given what I know about that, my suspicion is that they will find a way to have protected the organization in the event of something like that, and that it will continue to function smoothly. But I can't tell you definitively.
Yeah. Still, $140. Jed, splurge. You're an owner, okay? You know what he had? That was his belt buckles and bottled water moment. He went cheap. He went cheap. Summer John was like, I taught that boy to go cheap. He went cheap on that one.
What's the line? Surgeons? Yeah.
Surgeons and hookers.
I mean,
don't go cheap.
Hey, Tom,
turns
out we're going to have to go back in and do something with your back. Yeah. You could, there's this renowned doctor. It's going to cost a bundle. We're going to have to send you to this clinic in Minneapolis, but it's the top of the line, but it's going to cost you quite a pretty penny. Or hear me out. It's a sponsorship deal.
And a mobile home.
Yeah. His name is Dr. Bombay, and they say he's the best.
Oh my goodness gracious! All right, did we miss anything? Sometimes you have to get off social media to feel like, okay, now I'm back in the real world.
Yeah,
like I'm grounded. I'm in the real world. There was so much discussion about how the Shanahan thing was handled.
Yeah.
And one of my really good friends is a cop. And he said, look, everything was handled the way it should have been handled. He goes, there was no citations. No one was fucking at fault. They found out that Kyle was at fault, even though a clerical error said the girl was at fault. He goes, that's the way it should have been handled. Like nobody is owed any more information than they gave. That being said, I do understand people in power, just the way everything works, Mike. It's like everybody's always curious. What did they get? Was that fair? Did they get preferential treatment? I didn't feel like it was a huge deal, even when they reported it. Now you're a journalist, I'm not. I know they had a couple weeks off between when it happened and when camp started, so they didn't really have to go out there and say anything. Some people said they should have. I mean, you got a guy dealing with almost losing an eye, a couple broken ribs, broken finger, he's probably worried a little bit more about that than trying to get out and make a statement about this. But was there anything there that seemed nefarious or seemed like it should have been handled a little bit differently? Because I really didn't think so.
I mean, first of all, thank God that Kyle's okay and that the girl is okay, the other victim. Like,
absolutely,
that was 100% the first and most important thing. And I guess, Kyle's obviously, concussions are no joke, and there's an aftermath that he's still dealing with. But once I kind of was satisfied that those people are okay, that's a huge sigh of relief. I don't know the granular details or like, why did they let Mandy come and ride to the hospital? All I know is, thank God he's okay. I'm glad that, nobody's hurt. And then I give Kyle a lot of credit for, calling reporters in to explain the story in a way that was certainly not making him sound like a hero, right? Yeah. Like, I messed up. This is what happened. I didn't want it. Basically, I don't want it to be out there that this girl's at fault when it's my fault. So to me, all that's fine. The only part of it I would question, and I think maybe which filled it a little, is, as you alluded to, PR-wise, it's just weird when you wait and then you drop it. And then it's like, oh, wait, they've been withholding it. Why have they been withholding it? But I will say that if you considered that like a PR misplay, it was soon eclipsed like by
I know where you're going,
by a certain radio station and certain legendary broadcasters' departure, and the absolute fumbling of that in a kind of unfathomable way that I may have some personal feelings about. So listen, Niners, you're kind of off the hook on that one, because I'm just here to, listen, I'll just come out and say some stuff. So Greg Papa, look, we pray for him a lot. He's, fighting an incredibly brutal battle.
Yep.
And, that alone is a heavy, gnarly thing. And because he's a stubborn person, I'm,
that he is
holding out lots of hope that he's going to, channel that stubbornness and ultimately prevail. But it's heavy, and learning that he was cast out from Cambiar by Cumulus in the middle of that fight was just one of the more jolting things I've experienced as a friend of Greg and as just a consumer. And then obviously, personally, my son was kind of caught in the crossfire, so that part sucked. You have been through that. It sucks. My son got an incredible opportunity, with the blood of you and others, spilling under him when he felt weird about that from the outset. But I'm grateful that he got that opportunity, and I'm proud of how he handled it all the way to the end. And I understand the business, and my son will keep fighting, and that'll be okay. But it's hard for me to get past the stuff with Greg Pop. I just know the stress of trying to beat daunting cancer is so unfathomable to me. And if you add, now I don't have insurance or a salary like that, that feels
it's we've had our share of PR mishaps in the Bay Area. I'd put the Niners 1/3. Just because, again, it just seemed to me, why go out of our way to say something when we're going to have to say, like, Kyle, we don't have anything for Kyle to be at. People are like, well, if it's during the regular season, they would say, well, yeah, you'd say right away, because Kyle wouldn't be at practice the next day. You'd have to address that.
Yeah.
So that, to me, it wasn't that big a deal. KMBR's was just a joke. You don't even mention Greg Papa in your PR release. Like, are you kidding me? But it's really hard to beat the Giants the way they handled Pride Night. They take the cake they take the cake this summer.
Wow.
I mean, the way they handled that.
That's a hell of a medal stand, I gotta say.
That's an incredible medal stand.
I mean, the Niners are just down there peeking. So far, God has gotten the bronze, and the other thing. Niners have the bronze. They're just kind of like out of it.
The Niners are like, we keep slipping down the podium. This is nice.
And
really working for
Cumulus
us.
is like, how can you say we don't have the gold?
We should have the gold.
I mean,
we didn't even sign it. We didn't even put Greg's name.
We broke the world record and still didn't get the gold because it's just.
The Giants said no. We got y'all handled.
Yeah, Pride Night, that was really good, and especially the good thing is it wasn't in a city that's kind of at the forefront of LGBTQ. Yeah,
we're lagging.
There's no way that would alienate a fan base. Yeah, that was good. That was kind of like, I feel like Ennis Cantor Freedom might be at the next Pride Night at this rate.
I mean, please. Like I said, we made it. Every once in a while, we make a mistake when we make people citizens. I think that's when we messed up on. Because we got to send him back to Turkey.
When did the freedom come into his name? That was
probably a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Because remember, he started the whole thing off with Free Tibet. That was like how and then people were on his side. Like,
I was gonna say no one.
He was speaking
one's against that.
To power, and he was like railing against Turkey.
Yeah.
And Erdogan had wanted him extradited back there. And then there obviously we're like, no, that's not going to happen. But apparently they what's that? 21. Okay, so 5 years. They fired his dad. Did something to his family over there. Did some nasty stuff. But he was like, no, I'm gonna speak truth to. And it was like, if he had just left it at that, everybody was saying like, oh yeah, I dig. And then what happens to most people who aren't nearly as smart as they think they are? They're like, oh, that worked out well for me.
Yeah, let's take it up a notch.
Let's take on some other issues.
Yeah.
And then people are like, no.
Then pretty soon you got Natasha Cloud.
Yeah, and then you got the WNBA, and then you're
coming
like,
after
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just shut the.
You go from like, we got your back, to shut the fuck up. And it happens quick. Why? Because you're not as smart as you think you are.
There's a lot of that. And
there's a tremendous amount of that.
If I'm not mistaken, there is a absolutely incredible basketball player who believes that the Earth is flat. And has continued to.
I think he changed his mind. You're talking about Kyrie?
I
think Kyrie changed his mind.
Kyrie went back on the.
I think he backed. But once you say it, I mean, you can't go back on that.
It's rough.
I mean, you can't. My whole thing is, okay, do you actually believe the Earth is round, or are you just saying it because you got tired of getting crap for saying the Earth is flat? Like, the fact that you ever thought that, like, that never leaves me. It's never going to leave me. Like, how could you ever?
It's one of those things where you're like,
you'd fall off the, like, take a cruise.
You're
not going to fall off the face of the earth. Like, oh my God. Oh,
the greatest minds of our,
hey, there's Cape Horn. We're dead.
The greatest minds of our species over, centuries have tried to ascertain the universe and what is going on. They have now all concluded that this is what we know. Oh yeah? Nope.
Not so fast.
Like, I know that you guys created math and you think 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah.
It's 5.
No, it isn't.
It's 5. I know.
Yeah.
Only I know. Yeah, good stuff. So
the sun revolves around us.
Yeah, there's been a lot of material lately. Like I was on the road for a week, and all of a sudden I saw an enraged Natasha Cloud being held back in an arena while being taunted by a giant man. I mean, it's really weird.
Going there for that reason, apparently.
Like, do you think Robin Ficker could have ever elicited such a reaction back in the Washington days?
I mean, there's some guys who are mad at him. Like, I was part of a Warrior team. I won't name names, but they all took turns passing a cup down. I did not partake. Because I actually thought Robin Ficker was kind of funny.
Yeah,
he studied.
Yeah,
he got some funny stuff, but mostly everybody hated him. My favorite one from him to me was, "When are you going to get in the game, Ray Tolbert?" He kept calling me Ray Tolbert. Ray Tolbert, when are you going to get in the game? And I looked at him. Finally, I go, "Hey, Robin, we're not even the same color." And finally, somebody must have told him who Ray Tolbert was. And then he gave it a beat for about 5 minutes, left me alone. And then he goes, "Okay, Tom Tolbert." And then he would get on Don Nelson. "Hey, Don Nelson, you're in the nation's capital. You can't wear tennis shoes and a fish tie. What if you get invited to the White House? You can't wear tennis shoes in the White House, Don Nelson." Like, he'd always end with Don Nelson, Tom Tolbert, Chris Mullen. But so anyway, they passed a Gatorade cup and spit in it till it was almost full, and then threw it at him at the end of the game.
Oh,
I thought that was a little harsh. Like I said, I didn't participate.
It's like a David Tepper type move.
I thought it was a little much. Because there were the ones that cursed at you, that got monotonous.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, there's kids around.
Yeah.
At least try to be clever.
Right.
At least do some research.
Tom Holmoe, who later became Cal's football coach, but at the time was, he played for the 49ers for a long time.
Yep.
He told me a story about a guy used to heckle him during those great Giants 49ers rivalry clashes, and it was predictable. He'd be out there warming up, and the guy would be down low, and he'd be going, "Homo, hey Homo, how's San Francisco, Homo?" And so it was
clever.
And this was in the 80s. Like, people were far less enlightened than they are now, and it was just one. He's a Mormon from BYU, and it was just some constant, "Hey, Homo, how's the locker room? You get a shower?" Nonstop. And he had just kind of grown to accept that was the deal. So late in his career, they go to play the Jets, and he's warming up, and he hears "Homo!" and he kind of turns.
The same guy.
"Homo!" and he turns. And he goes, "Yeah, Homo, I'm a Jets fan too." Guy decided to get the season ticket package for both teams, sharing a stadium.
He didn't hit him with the "Homo says what?" What? Hey, you got me, you son of a bitch.
I'm sure he did.
He was a BYU AD for a while, wasn't he?
Then he became he was a Cal football coach, which didn't go well, but then he became the BYU AD, and it went very well. So,
is Bunny literally tearing that box up?
No, I think it's the door frame.
Is she eating the door frame?
Yeah.
God.
She's eating the door.
It's just
we're gonna have to put this over there. Just set it over there.
The bunny
in
is
her way. She's gonna move it though. It's not heavy enough. A little shit. Look at you. She's got door shrapnel in her whiskers.
Do you think her thought bubble right now is, if you just let me out once in a while to
She is out. What the hell?
How many times has she escaped?
3 or 4. Max, we get another. Another Fieldwork. Just pick one.
Any Fieldwork. What's the longest jailbreak
she was outside in the front yard. What's that?
What's the longest jailbreak she had?
don't know because I don't know when she got out. But we went and looked for her one day and couldn't find her. And I went outside and there was a lady walking by. And she could tell I was kind of like looking around. And she goes, "Are you looking for a rabbit?" I go, "I am, as a matter of fact." She goes, "Oh, it's right over there in the yard." She was just sitting out here eating grass on the yard. So I think she's gotten out maybe like 2 or 3 times. I keep a better eye on her now. I just make sure all the digging sites get filled in along the fence line. Like I let her dig against the house. I just don't want it to collapse one of these days. Like the foundation like collapses because of your rabbit. I'd be like, yeah, Bunny just cost me like 1.3 million. That's no big deal.
That'd be rough.
Yeah, that'd be rough for her too. It'd be a lot rougher for me.
So when you were looking for her, were you like looking up like?
No, I was just like
no hawks.
I looked in the backyard. I went this side to that side, like I couldn't tell you how many times.
Were you calling her name like she would answer?
No, she's not going to answer.
Yeah, because what's a bunny going to do? Just
all right, Mike. This one's
a radios and rodeos. I've had this. These are good.
Yeah,
these are good. Good lager.
Very light.
Something that was
Thank
low
you.
alcohol percentage.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. That's the responsible thing to do since I drive my own car.
Oh, next time, yeah, we'll just make sure you get something different than the next time. Okay. Since we're doing our taste test.
Yeah,
and we both like this. You've had it. So you enjoyed the designer nugs.
I'm once they rename it to Mr. T, I'm just gonna like get a tap of it or something. Yeah, that was great. Great pail.
So yeah, Bunny has gotten out a few times, but so the deal with Bunny is, God dang it, he's back to like tearing up. Maybe just move the whole box sideways instead of like out like it is. Just turn the box around. Yeah, so I bring her out in the morning, let her run around all day, and then she comes back in.
Where's she sleep?
Just upstairs in the room. Cool. She's got a cage up there with like bedding and stuff like that.
Nice.
So no, she, as far as bunnies that you get at a flea market out of a cage, I almost can get. This is like my Fieldwork beer garden thing. Like I know I'm positive it's the best. I just can't prove it. I'm positive out of all those bunnies in those cages,
this is the best.
She's had the best life. I don't know for a fact, but I'm guessing she's had the best life.
I can't remember if I told my bunny story last time, but when our kids were little, Leslie bought a rabbit and we named it, and the kids got super attached, and I was like on the road a bunch, and I realized like the first 2 times I held it that like I was like wildly allergic. Like I was puffing up, and
really,
I was like, oh, this is gonna suck because like this rabbit's gonna like live at our house for a long time. The kids are attached to it. I can't really at this point, be the dick dad, but like it's a real problem. Like I'm super allergic, and I hadn't really worked it out. I had a lot going on. Kids were young. I think I was still at SI, and I just I didn't like pray to the bunny gods or anything, but I was just kind of like, how's this gonna work out? And then the rabbit got some horrible disease and died very young. So I might have psychically killed a rabbit, but it wasn't like I wasn't intending
crying,
to.
Mike's like back and going,
oh my God. I was like, thank you, Bunny in the sky.
Causes.
Yeah. Like I didn't poison it or anything, but maybe my mind poisoned the situation.
Well, she's Bunny too. She, Camila's other grandparents, have a house out in Patterson. So they go to Patterson on the weekends, and Camila's like, I forget, 2 or 3. Oh, I want a bunny. I want a bunny. I want a bunny. So they get her a bunny, and they got a pretty big yard out there. So they just put the bunny out in the yard, let the bunny run around and do what the bunny does, and bring her in at night or whatever. Didn't really pay much attention to the bunny. Bunny was kind of like a free roam bunny, and that bunny got taken by a stray dog. Stray dog came to the backyard, snatched up the bunny.
See it?
I don't know if they actually saw the dog run away with the bunny, but there was a stray dog out there that was kind of lurking around there for a while, so they're assuming that it got the bunny. So they went and got this little bun, and then they went down to Mexico. They have family in Mexico, so they go there and they're there for like a month every year. And so we got the bunny. Weston's like, well, they want us to take care of the bunny for the month. And I go, you know what that means? Like the bunny's ours now.
Yeah.
The bunny's ours.
Yeah, it's not.
I go not what I was looking for to have another animal in the house, but I go okay, whatever. And then of course, once the bunny comes into the house, then guess who takes care of the bunny?
Yep. And guess what?
This guy.
You're the bunny.
Guess who likes taking care of the bunny?
Yeah.
This guy.
And guess,
I'm the animal guy. Like there's an animal.
Guess who talks to her like she's his daughter?
Yeah, this guy.
Right.
All of them. Got all the estrogen rolling through the household.
Yeah.
All the pets are
girls. You have all
the pets are girls.
Well, I got to tell you, we just got a dog who's now a little over a year, a standard poodle named Sadie, and it's our first female pet other than the aforementioned bunny who didn't live long.
Yeah.
And our previous dog was a male who thought he was married to my wife and that I just slept in the bed once in a while. But this dog every morning follows me around until I walk her for about an hour every day. So Sadie and I have a very special relationship.
That's great.
And so I got to say, female pets, I'm into it.
No, I mean I love the best part. I mean she hasn't gone for a walk in a while, but maybe a month, just getting her cleared out. But no, I mean like she's one of my best friends. Like we go for walks all the time. She hangs out, watches. Well, she doesn't watch the ball games. I can tell she watches a little bit though. Because like when she's watching the Giants game this year, sometimes she's like this.
Yeah. How was she like with Kaminga? Was she like triggered a little like when Kaminga?
That's the only time I've ever heard her speak. She goes, "Get this fucking guy off the court."
She was like 2 timelines.
She goes, "Can we get rid of this guy already, please? Like now? Can we get rid of him?" So, all right, let's get back to the Niners. Lulu.
2 timelines.
Lou. Is there anybody?
This is amazing.
This is obviously a no, but nobody's helping Brandon Ayuk out. Has he played his last game in the NFL?
You know, I was in Indianapolis the other day, standing next to Charvarius Ward, who is now on the Colts, who was not practicing.
Yeah.
And we were catching up on a lot of things during the practice, which I thought was really nice that he came over and spent his practice with me. But he asked me, he goes, "You think PA is ever going to play again?" And I kind of expressed some hope that, you know, it seems like he probably needs to get right.
Yeah.
And I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just married to one, so I can't tell you exactly what that means. But I feel like if he gets himself, you know, straightened out that way, sure. But I think Mooney was more skeptical. And, you know, to me, it looks like the 49ers are torturing him. And listen, I get it. Like, I get it if you're the 49ers. You're like, this guy has really made our life not fun. And we have no compulsion to give him what he wants for the sake of being cool. But on the other hand, I think there's something to be said for, we know he's not going to be here. We know we're not getting anything for him. Let's just be done with it and try to move forward, you know, so we can handle, you know, we have our own stuff going on.
Yeah.
Clearly. So part of me kind of goes, I wish they would just set him free and, you know, but the real, you know, thing that
couldn't he ask to be reinstated and like just show up and make him cut him? Why wouldn't he do that?
He doesn't seem to be getting any guidance and
none.
And I guess that's my problem. You know, he had an agent that has said that John Lynch is like his mentor and best friend and was in his wedding, and that's weird. First of all, when you've got competing interests like that, but you know, these agents, particular this agency and this agent, have tended to be really pious when talking to other people. And when Diana Rossini and I reported that last year, the things they said to us, it was very much like we are the emblems of virtue when it comes to sensitivity and having our clients' interests at heart. And you callous media people who want to report the truth are, you know, just completely not like that. But I would argue that journalistically, we were just putting out facts that the public had a right to know. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of like, wow, I have Brandon Ayuk's best interest at heart. I haven't seen it through the entire process. So I would hope that somebody somewhere that has his best interest at heart that he will listen to could help him get right. And if he gets right, I think he could, get some clarity, take a deep breath, as you said, just apply for reinstatement, get cut, and go get an opportunity somewhere because, let's face it, before he hurt the knee, he was a exceptionally high-performing player.
Yes, he was. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, he just... I know, I mean, obviously he's not doing himself any good anytime he shows up on social media. And I'm just wondering where the family members are.
Yeah.
Like, somebody take his phone away, cut his... I mean, I don't know how easy it is to tell someone, look, you're really doing a lot of damage to your career. Because someone's not quite right in the head, Mike, when they just give away free money. Like, he just said, yeah, take away the guarantees.
Did you see that in your time playing? Was there anyone who was so... again, we're not mental health professionals, but was there anyone who was just so seemingly detached from their best interests that it career? I mean, I guess you were with Washburn, right? Like that?
No, I wasn't. No, Washburn was before me.
He was before you. Okay.
I mean, I've played with some real fucking yo-yos, but as far as like,
I mean, to the point where they just completely
not quite like that. Not quite like that.
Yeah.
Were
you with J.R. Ryder ever?
No, I wasn't with J.R. Ryder. The only guy I was with, and I was only with him for maybe like half of training camp before I got waived, was Byron Houston.
Oh yeah,
who ended up in jail.
Yeah,
he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
I played with a couple people that were like just bad guys.
Steve Kerr,
awful guy, awful guy.
Mostly because he's such a prima donna. It's always about him.
Yeah, no, I've seen him kick kids, like just kick them.
His own, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean just kids playing on the street, and like I saw him one time flip over a fucking lemonade stand.
Remember that time?
Just cursed at the kids.
Remember that time we were with him in a
fucking lemonade's too
Remember that time we were with him in a crowded steakhouse, and he just stood up and started screaming, "Stop looking at me! I know you know that I'm Steve Kerr, an NBA star, and you're looking at me. Stop it!"
No, but I remember when he stood up one time and pissed on the steak.
Oh yeah,
and said, "This is low grade dog food.
Yeah,
take it back."
Yeah, I said medium rare.
Yeah. No, I mean, the first time I can remember that happening, where a guy just completely sabotages his career, gives up money that was guaranteed, says he could take the guarantees, and then just continues to sabotage his career, and sabotages his career to the extent that he's like arguing with one of his former teammates, Jaden Daniels, his teammate at ASU. It's like. It's like that's
his former teammate who he's counting on to get him back in the league.
That's why I was like, somebody tackle this guy. Just tackle him. Save it.
I mean, Antonio Brown kind of got that way at the end with the helmet and the
I guess a little
living
bit.
in Tom Brady's house and then crapping on Tom Brady.
I guess a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, before we move on, you mentioned that we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but your thoughts on the Rossini situation?
Yeah, I mentioned her in conjunction with Ayuk. Listen. Really good friend of mine, worked with her at the Athletic for too short of a time, unfortunately. Really, really proud of the journalism we did together, and honestly just really bummed that we don't get to continue it because we worked really well together. She was, I don't think people understand the level of elite that she was performing at in terms of keeping in touch with the really important people around the league. And I don't mean just agents and transactional, like players, coaches, owners, all of it, having real conversations with them every day and really knowing what was going on and, competing at a very high level. And so I do miss having her a lot. Very bummed that it all imploded. She became a very high profile person. I'm kind of like you, like when we talked about earlier with the Judd situation, like I'm not a super judgy person. I would never comment on tabloid crap, and I do know her family. She's got a great family. And so, a lot of people have had a lot of thoughts about it. I'm not really getting into that, but I would say, she's doing a lot better, and her family's doing well, and I do think she's going to be back. Probably not as an insider, at least in the short term, but I think she'll be back in this realm, probably talking about football and other things pretty soon. And I just wish we could have kept it going.
Yeah, I mean, would you agree though that you just can't do that? Because then it just casts suspicion about everything you do and the motivation behind why you're doing it. Whether you're doing it or not, it's just the suspicion's there, and it's always going to be there.
Yeah, she knows. I mean, if you just look at the optics, which I think she would agree is, fair to do, it's not good, and yet it is a harder thing for a woman covering a man's sport. If I was, giving a bro hug to Kyle at a resort 2 days before the owners' meetings up on a balcony and, hanging out, going to the hot tub, the reaction would be like, wow, good get, man. Your Silver's getting some time with Kyle. That's pretty cool. They must have a cool relationship, and that's.
I'd be like, "What the fuck is Mike doing?
Helping
what
him
doing up there?"
He'd be like, "Yeah, he came to my backyard.
Somebody go get him."
So I think it is hard. I try to, if I were covering.
Well, it's hard for you because you're a friend and you know her.
Yeah.
And stuff,
well, if I were covering women's tennis, trying to be the best and trying to get the most stuff, like, would I be trying? I think what's hard for the women I know in this business, speaking globally, is at 11 at night, and we're all out, and maybe some coaches or whoever, players, and people are like, "Hey, you want to go to one more bar and get a couple beers?" And like, the answer for me or Jeff Darlington or our people is always like, "Hell yeah, sounds good," because A, we're having fun, and B, we know that is a differentiator. We might, someone might share something with us at 1 a.m, or a week later, because we had that experience, it may make a phone call different. And I think for women, it's always hard because you're like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to compete. I want to be on the same level as my male counterparts. But I know that not just optics, but operationally, like, it may lead to some bad situations where people think the wrong things or people take things the wrong way. So that's always there. And I guess I would just, I don't want to beat this to the ground, but I guess my last thought on this is I've talked to a lot of women I know in the business since, and there's been some stuff floated out there like, oh, this just made it harder for all women. And I guess my reply to that is, dude, it was always hard. It's still hard. Like, it was never, this was a horrible brouhaha, and it obviously cost me the ability to work with someone I loved working with and all that. But like, the women in this business have always had to navigate that when covering men's sports, and it's always been hard. And there's so many good ones, and I applaud the ones who've been able to kick ass in spite of that. And, Diana was, a lot of things can be true, and she was kicking ass.
Well, I look, it's this just goes down to the difference between men and women. If women go out with a bunch of men coaches and women reporter goes out, you're going to think differently of her than if it's a women's sport and the women ask the guy reporter to go hang out with them and have beers.
Right.
You're not going to think much of it. You're not going to think like, oh, they're trying to hit on him. What are they trying to do?
I think you're politely calling me ugly, but I would agree. You don't think Natasha Cloud is looking at me at the end of the night?
I don't think so.
I think you're right.
I don't think so.
I think you're correct.
Okay, here, I've had this conversation before, and this isn't just Diana Rossini. This is Shams and anybody who's a, quote, insider.
Right.
You're not an insider. You're a journalist. There's a difference between an insider and a journalist.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have with all insiders, because everybody loves, like, tidbits and everybody loves Woj bombs and all this stuff that happens behind the scenes. But what are you giving up as an insider to get what you're getting? Like, these teams, these agents, these coaches, these GMs, these players aren't giving you this just out of the generosity of their heart. Like, I really like you. Here, have some. No, I don't want anything in return. What the whole insider business to me is a little seedy in thinking, okay, if you're going to give me something that can help me and people are going to pay attention to, inside information, what does that mean that I owe you? Do I owe you like maybe a kinder, gentler piece next time you do something stupid or something happens? Or could I talk about a player in a way that helps you get him one way or the other? what are your whole thoughts on the insider thing? Because it just seems like a seedy business to me.
Yeah, and I've seen it evolve or devolve. And I talk a lot about the information industrial complex and what it's become. And I'm kind of still doing it the old way. And you're right, I'm not an insider, and I'm not focused on transactions normally. But I have a very different style. So, as journalists, we're trying to get scoops. We're trying to get information before other people. And it used to be like, hey, I'm trying to get it in the paper Tuesday and nobody else had it. They have to put it in Wednesday. But now we're in an era where it's, seconds.
Instant. Yeah.
I want to win by 8 seconds or tie or lose by 12 seconds instead of 20. And I'm not so sure how important that is. It's become because of that. It's become very transactional, as you alluded to, favor trading, and it's become very agent driven. And look, I'm not saying I don't have some friendly relationships with agents or that I haven't used agents to help me get to a player or arrange things, but I tend to view my communication with agents as, they have a paid vested interest in. So I'm very much more focused on direct sources. I want to talk to player, coach, talent evaluator, owner, people who are really involved and get their perspective, not just information. And so I kind of still do it differently that way. I think what you see now is because the agents control it and act as though they control it, in conjunction with some team executives and people, it's literally quid pro quo sometimes. And so you'll see weird things like a insider will frame something in a crazy way, like, defending someone who is accused of some horrible offense in a weird, like, forgiving way, or, hey, watch out for this undrafted corner from Harvard. He might, make a big splash. And you're like, he's doing a favor for an agent. And so that does create suspicion, not only in our industry, but among the consumer. And I guess, there's a lot of money in it to be ahead of the transactions, and it's very competitive. It's just never really been my personal goal. So let me give you an example of like when I thought things were changing. So, when I was at SI, I was getting great access, but I was trying to have in every story that week. We didn't come out till Wednesday. So if my story wasn't full of nuggets that you didn't know and wouldn't have otherwise known, I wasn't doing my job. And so, there are things that everybody's going to know, but it's who gets it first. In other words, Brock Purdy's questionable for the game against the Lions. It's Friday. Well, if I find out Saturday he's going to play, everyone was going to find out Sunday. But good for me, I was first.
Yeah.
Less interested in that. I'm more interested in, I found out something that you might never have known, and because of me, you know it. Hard to do. So let's go back to 2012. I was at Yahoo. I wrote a story that year, later in the season, about a thing that had happened in a Ravens meeting room. Ray Lewis was gone because he was out with an injury at the time. And some of the other players, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, some of the strong voices started venting in a meeting about practice style, conditions, in a way that got really incendiary. And John Harbaugh at the time was a newer coach, and it was described to me as a near mutiny in the meeting. And that John Harbaugh heard everybody, let everybody be heard, and amid the chaos, magically kind of got it back and calmed it down and moved forward. That Raven team ended up rallying at the end, galvanized, and won the Super Bowl against the 49ers. And I broke that story during the season still with quotes from John Harbaugh talking about it. And I was so proud of that. I was like, wow, what a cool thing. That nobody would have known this. It's a team that ended up winning the championship. I got the coach to own it on the record. As far as me feeling good about what I do, I felt really good about it. That next March in free agency, Wes Welker signed with the Broncos after being with the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I broke that story for, let's be generous, 26 seconds. For 26 seconds, Mike Silver of Yahoo was the only one who had Wes Welker. And then 26 seconds later, Adam Schefter also reported it, and, da-da-da. So when it came time to do my job evaluation at Yahoo, they just glossed right over stuff like the near mutiny.
Yeah.
But they could not stop talking.
They love the 26
about
seconds.
the 26 seconds. And in my head, I'm thinking sure, that was fun for a second, but I'm not proud of that.
Yeah.
I got a good source to tell me it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Just a little bit earlier, and cool, I did my job. But so that's when I kind of knew, I don't think. And the only other thing I did was when I went to NFL Network the next year in 2013, Eric Weinberger, who ran it at the time, sat me down and said, "Listen, do you know Ian Rappaport?" I said, "Yeah, I know Ian." And he said, "Well, we're trying to prop him up and make him like the next guy. If I cast you as, essentially Mort to his Schefter on Thursday Night Football, which was still an NFL Network production, and Game Day Morning, would you be cool with that?" And that, I was new to TV, and I said, "Yeah, sure. I don't want to do that as my thing, but for one season, if that helps, the network that just hired me, and it'd be fun." So Ian and I did that for a season, and I thought we did really well and worked well together. And we had some funny moments, you'd prepare for more items than you might actually say in the segment, and those segments are tight. And Ian would get really upset if we didn't get to one of them that we didn't get on TV. And I'd have to have some talks with him. I'd be like, "Ian, we're in suits with people putting makeup on us on the sideline of a nationally televised game that's only on our network. Many people watching us are in bars and restaurants and can't hear us." Exactly. I'm like, "Dude, we already won. Just tweet the extra item. It's going to be cool." I don't know. I just had a much different perspective on it. This is a great story. I really hadn't done TV, and you'll laugh because you've done a lot of it. But imagine me, new TV guy, and it's one of the first Thursday Night Football halftimes, and those were really tight blocks because it was the most valuable real estate NFL Network had. So they'd sell 9 of the 12 minutes as commercials. So you had to hit your mark out. And, so I'm adjusting to that concept. We have more items than, we're going to get to. And we have, say Michael Irvin, Marshall Faulk, Rich Eisen. There's a lot of oxygen being spent. And so at one point, I'm sharing something, and the voice in my ear, Chris Wirtz, our producer, said rap, and I kept talking, and then he said rap again, and I kept talking because I thought he was talking to Ian. And finally he says, "Silver, shut the fuck up." And so I finish the thought. Eisen gets us out. We go to the break, and I start to try to explain. He goes, he's like, "I figured it out." I was dying. I'm like, "I thought you were talking a rap sheet." So it was an adjustment period. And then there was this other time where, in Denver on that mall, how those streetcars, those buses come. Yeah. Ian was on the phone trying to get some information the day of the game, and we were both there, and he had kind of wandered out in, and I turned and looked, and I didn't even have time to use words. I just saw a bus that was about to end his life, and all I could do was go, and whatever noise I made got him to turn, and he jumped at the last second, and his life was spared. And then later that night, he was having a freak out about one of our things that got cut or something, and I go, "Ian," do you acknowledge that on balance, though, this has been a good day for you? I saved your life, dude.
No, but I agree. I'm more into the stuff you write than the breaking, because what I want to do is learn something about somebody or an organization that shapes my thinking about them.
Right.
That's what I want.
And we did last year. Diana and I did break the Ayuk thing, for example. So I'm not saying all breaking news is bad, but that wasn't really transactional. That was hey, nobody knows why Brandon Ayuk's not around. We figured it out. Here's why.
No, exactly.
But I agree with you. Thank you, because I also like the stuff I do.
I want to
better
know who
than
I'm rooting.
Anything in the world.
I'd like to know a little bit more about the people and what makes them tick, and that's what I enjoy. Oh, you know what? I wasn't even going to ask you this because I didn't even think about it, but while you were talking, I thought about it, so I wanted to ask you about it. What are your really? You're into this?
She's into this.
Yeah. Give me your memories of the year you spent with the Washington Redskins.
Actually, it was the Washington football team.
Was it?
It was.
I thought it was the Redskins at the time.
You know what's great?
So you got the middle ground. You got the football team.
I got a bunch of gear because I was also their preseason sideline reporter. So like Greg Silver and my other son Robbie, we'll flex on that because they're like, nobody has Washington
limited
football
edition.
team. Yeah.
Oh, you got the middle.
Yes.
After the Redskins, before the Commanders.
I was a Washington football team.
What do you remember about that experience? Because Dan Snyder was owned the team at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, so let me explain how the whole thing went down, because I did find myself working for Dan Snyder in the middle of
I gotta say, it did surprise me that you were working for Dan Snyder.
Okay, so this is the whole thing. So first of all, I worked for NFL Network. Nobody ever thought that would happen, because I used to do owner rankings. I called them communists, kind of half jokingly during the lockout in 2011. And I do think maybe the owners were literally like, we're so sick of this guy, we should maybe just pay him.
Yeah.
And so whatever, nobody ever thought I would work there. And so once I worked there, obviously, you have to kind of come to terms with I work for the 32 owners.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I didn't give my opinions. Doesn't mean I didn't do journalism, but you gotta maybe just wash a little extra in the shower every day. It's just whatever. But the money was good. No.
It was good.
So I've been doing that for 6-7 years already, and then somehow Steve Weish, my friend and former colleague who was at NFL Network, worked this side deal with the Falcons where they came to him and they're like, would you give us some extra content and be our preseason, be in our preseason broadcast team, and we'll announce it. And it worked. And I was like, NFL Network approved it. And I was like, oh, so he's getting extra money and just giving the Falcons a little love, and preseason broadcast team sounds fun, And so literally a week after it was announced, Ron Rivera called me and was like, hey, you know what Weish just did with the Falcons? He's like, would you do that with us? And I was like, yeah, maybe. Let me ask. So, this is in 2021. So I've been there 8 years. So Ron Rivera asks, I run it by NFL Network via my agent. They're like, yeah, cool. They work out the deal. I got on the preseason team. And then this was in late spring, and then all of a sudden, in June, after appearing to negotiate to re-up me, they abruptly were like, "You are done. You're gone." It kind of cumulus me,
Nice.
It was cumulus-esque vibe, and cut me loose. Coming out of a pandemic, and it was
And this was NFL Network that cut you.
NFL Network told me in June I was gone as of end of July.
Okay.
And wasn't announced. Also cumulus-esque, mention. And but I knew, and so now I'm kind of like, I got to regroup here. So I did regroup and get some other things like Bally Sports and the Volume. But as far as the world knew, Washington had been announced, so that when NFL Network went away, all of a sudden it just looked like I worked for the Washington football team. And that was troubling because Dan Snyder was getting worse. The investigation had happened. It was around the name change time, George Floyd. And I there was a moment where I kind of said, maybe I need to resign here because I work, now it really looks like I work for Dan Snyder. I do have a funny, while we're on it, so I did sideline for the preseason, and I was new to sideline reporting. Did you ever have to do sideline? You were in the booth.
No.
You never, or hosting. Yeah,
I never did.
Yeah,
sideline.
I'd never done sideline. So I'm out there in my Washington football team polo, and it was Kenny Albert, amazing announcer,
Kenny,
and Joe Theismann, legend, were the broadcast team, and I was the sideline guy. So it's my second game, first home game as sideline. Never done it before, and we're down on the field. I think it was my first game. We're down on the field pregame, and we're schmoozing, and now it comes time for Kenny Albert and Joe Theismann to walk up to the booth and leave me down on the field. And preseason sideline is mostly interviewing players during game, but still. And I think maybe Kenny and Joe can tell I'm a little like, oh, this is my first time. And as they're walking away, Joe turns back to me and he goes, "Hey, break a leg." Which probably wasn't the first time he used it, but it was so good. Like, thank you, Joe Theismann, for that.
Did you go? You too?
Yeah. I was.
Oh, you already got
I
that
was
one.
crying. It was.
I got to give you the. I've told this story before, but I got to give it to you before we move on. So one of my first games that I did with ESPN was up in Seattle. It was.
Key Arena or the Coliseum?
Key Arena.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Tirico, myself, and Sal Masekela.
Wow.
Do you remember Sal?
Nah,
okay,
vaguely.
Sal does X Games.
Oh.
So he does like the X Games, and X Games were just brand new back then. But ESPN wanted to bring him in to do NBA side. They bring in a new audience, that X Game, younger audience,
because
stuff like that.
you weren't alternative enough.
I wasn't alternative enough. No, it wasn't alternative enough. So we're doing the game, and Sal's going back and forth with Seattle, and who were they playing? Can't remember who they were playing. But anyway, he's walking back and forth between the benches, talking, trying to get in there, listen to the coaches, and do this. And this is like, to my recollection, Sal's like first game, or one of the first games he's ever done this. So he's really, really new at it. So really tight game, end of the game. Seattle comes down. I think they're trailing by one or tied, and they hit a shot. So they immediately pan over to the bench, and the bench is going crazy, right? Jumping up and down. There's Sal behind the Seattle bench going. we were laughing so hard. I was like, Sal, when did you sign with Supersonic thing?
Believe it or not, embarrassingly, I have a story that is hauntingly similar.
Oh, nice.
The Sean Kemp Tomahawks, over Lister. The first and most emphatic.
Those weren't
one.
as funny to me.
Well,
those were not as funny.
So I was
my guy Alton just get like,
So we don't cheer it. Like, I don't. Come on, man. I don't cheer it. Like, I don't cover Cal, luckily, but like, I don't cheer. I was baseline, courtside, coming to me. I lost my mind. I turned around and started high-fiving Sonics fans. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
You have to take your Warrior card.
No, I didn't care who won the game. I just saw the crazy, I saw a crazy flying man knock down a 7'2" guy because the dunk was so rad.
I was at the far. We were at the far end.
No, I wanted the series to go 5 at least.
I was at the far. We were at the other end of the court. That's where our bench was, and I remember I felt like Apollo Creed's trainer when he was like yelling at Rocky, like, "Get out of there!" Because I could see it coming the whole way. I could see the break unfold. I could see the pass going to Kemp, and I could see Alton kind of sliding over. And I was like, don't do it. And then he tried to take the charge. He didn't even try to block it. He goes, "Let me take the charge." And then when he came down, he just went. I was like, oh no, that place just went bonkers.
A few years ago, I was walking around Seattle on like a Friday morning, I think after maybe the Niners played a Thursday night game. I was just walking, taking a nice long walk, and I saw Sean Kemp's giant weed store. He's got like a giant weed emporium.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. I went in. I was like, I wonder if they have like strains, like
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Rain Man strain.
Purely a research trip.
Oh,
I'll have everyone know.
Of course it was. All right, should we, let's pause for a second. We'll grab a beer. Maybe anybody need a restroom break? I might even feed her.
I think you should.
I think she's getting ready to get fed. So can we go Homer? Can we drop a Homer on him? All right, we are back, and I'm gonna try some pulp now. And
Ooh.
I'm gonna leave a little. I'll leave a little for you when you're ready. You don't need to. You don't need to hurry.
I'll wait.
Ooh, that's a foamy pour right there.
So,
But this is kind of their flagship IPA,
right.
Kind of like carbonated orange juice, a little bit. I call it. It's
a nice 6.9.
very
That's
good.
That's
yeah. We try to keep it under 7.
Yeah.
Keep it under 7. We're good. Every once in a while, I'll touch 7. I used to touch the 8s and 9s, and I'm just like, nah, that's not my gig anymore.
Right. If Cal went to the Rose Bowl, and you handed me like a 9, I'd be like, okay,
Really good. And then you wouldn't watch the game because you'd be passed out.
Also, that's never been an issue in my lifetime.
Is that a good thing?
No.
No.
Except for my liver, maybe.
Oh God.
I've tried drinking to, stimulate victory. I've tried drowning my sorrows. I've tried drinking to celebrate.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be a correlation between what I do and whether Cal is able to win games.
All right, before I get to the Niners, and I want to jump around and get and talk to you about the teams you visited during your camp tour. But just a couple of things that she throw up. Oh, geez.
Hold on. And now she's eating it back.
Lulu, good Lord.
Ooh.
We're gonna have to. Hey.
I can't eat it.
All right. Well, that was the first vomit cleanup.
Not me. Not mine. Not mine.
Vomit disposal.
That was Lulu, not me.
Well, we gave Lulu some new food today, so it's what was it? Beef and macaroni, and it's like that fresh food, but it's like even a step up from there, and it's easier for her to eat. So obviously, it's easier for her to throw it back up too.
Yeah, it didn't look great on the way out.
That did not look good.
I think it was bubbling.
That even Bunny ran away. Bunny was like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's filthy.
Yeah,
what are you doing over there, you filthy animal?"
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
No, I didn't need Bunny stepping in it. Can you imagine Bunny stepping in it? That'd have been all kinds of gnarly. So hopefully Lou's stomach doesn't continue to. Hopefully I don't go in the house now and find some vomit. Anyway, off the vomit. All right, before we get to the teams, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Let's see. We've given God the bronze. We've given the Niners PR the bronze.
We didn't give God, to be clear, we did not give God the bronze.
The Marine Corps gave God the bronze.
We didn't do that.
We gave the Niners the bronze, the Niners PR team the bronze.
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
They couldn't even compete for the silver with Cumulus and the Giants.
Let me give you 3 conferences. Coaches. You rank them coaches in the conference.
Yeah.
Who has the better coaches? 1, 2, 3. NFC West, McVay, Donald, Shanahan, LaFleur.
New LaFleur, who we don't know anything about. Yeah.
NFC North, LaFleur,
O'Connell,
Campbell, Johnson.
Ben Johnson. Ooh.
AFC West, Reed,
Peyton,
Harbaugh,
and Kubiak.
We don't know. So
Wow.
rank them 1, 2, 3. What conference or what division has the best? Because I think those are the 3 best.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I left somebody out that you would rank somebody ahead of them.
On lifetime achievement, it's obviously the AFC West, and Kubiak, he's new. We'll see. But, Andy Reid has won multiple Super Bowls, been to many Super Bowls, is iconic and still at the top of his game. Sean Payton won a Super Bowl with the Saints, likely would have gone to one last year with the Broncos had Bo Nix not gotten the freak injury. Could go this year. And, Harbaugh became very close to what he won with the Niners. Hasn't taken the Chargers to that level yet, but has gotten them right in the playoffs, won the national championship at Michigan. So I'm going to go AFC West 1. NFC West is similar. You kind of got to put Mike LaFleur out because he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say NFC West a very close second. And if you ask me right now, have to win a game, I might take NFC West because you've got, McVay has been to 2 Super Bowls, won one, and was knocking on the door last year. Kyle has not actually won a Super Bowl, but is, going to and will, I think, win multiples. He's, just in the profession, revered for his strategic acumen, and I think he's just getting better and better. And then, Mike McDonald, hello. I was a really good, promising defensive coordinator, and in year 2 in Seattle, I just won the Super Bowl. And by the way, started out the season last year by losing a tough one to the Niners at home with Bosa making that game-ending play.
Yep.
And so if you told me that day, but it's okay. They're going to come back and go back to Levi's and kill the AFC team in the Super Bowl, I'd be like, I don't know if that's true. So I'm going to put them second.
Okay.
Dan Campbell, I spent some time with recently. He talked to me a lot about how we need to get our edge back. We lost our edge. What makes us us?
4th and 8 at the 10. Let's go for it.
Well, but I think what he meant was the hunger.
I know what he meant.
Well, and also he's also saying offensive line. Like the offensive line was the defining characteristic of that team, and it really. They went through it last year. Now they got Sewell at left tackle. They've done some things. I think they're gonna be good. And remember, the Lions. If a ball doesn't bounce off a corner's face mask and Brandon Ayuk makes the diving catch, they may end up going to the Super Bowl at least. So Kevin O'Connell has done wonders, but has not won a playoff game. Yeah. So in one sense, you're like, wow, he's McVay 2.0, and he's gonna be incredible. But I think some people in Minnesota are like, if he doesn't win a playoff game. So Matt LaFleur has done big things with the Packers. Really rough flame out last year, and then the loss with a blown lead to the rivals.
Yeah.
And then Ben, I went to Chicago, and I started asking some people the question because it fascinates me about Ben, because I said this last year publicly. I'm like, look, in our real world with coaches and players and media and the people inside the NFL world, and I think you might have felt this way with NBA, the rivalry thing, it's like, it matters, but it's not what fans think. Like we commingle, people switch teams. You really hate the rival, except for one guy. Ben Johnson seems to actually believe that hating the Green Bay Packers is a real thing. It started when he started poking Matt LaFleur at that first press conference. And then there was the video after they beat the Packers in the playoffs last year with cameras that went out where he goes, "Fuck the Packers!" And I'm like, so when I went to Chicago, I asked Ryan Poles, the GM, I'm like, hey, are you and Goody, Brian Gutekunst, the Packers GM, should you start a rapper war or something? And everybody kind of laughs. So I'm talking to Ben. It's just like me and you out here, no beer, but like it's normal. And then I brought up the rivalry. He completely morphed into like a wrestling character.
Did he really?
He goes, "It is the biggest rivalry in all of football. How else would you expect me to react?" And I go, Have you had any guys who've been in the Pack organization come into this building and enjoy the Bears? That has not happened yet. And like after about 3 questions, I'm like, oh my God, he's psycho. And then I changed the subject, and he came right back to like, he was like, hey Mike, what's up? So I am fascinated by that, but
it's like when in Naked Gun, when Reggie turned into the assassin.
It is a lot like a Naked Gun.
Kill the Queen.
Right.
I must kill the Queen. And then afterward, he's like back to just being Reggie Jackson.
Or
that was like somebody hit the button on Ben Johnson.
Manchurian Candidate, something.
Exactly.
So I would grant you this: that division has the most across the board because it's 4 guys who've done something.
Yeah.
Whereas Kubiak and Mike LaFleur have not had a chance to yet. But I'm going to go AFC West, NFC West, NFC North. But if you told me you have to win a game tomorrow, I think I'm taking NFC West.
I think so too. It's funny because, like, I know how fans work. A lot of fans want to get rid of Kyle. A lot of fans want to get rid of Steve. They just they just expect it. I always say the problem in a lot of sports fans' eyes is once the bar is raised, you can't lower it again. It's the reason, and you'll understand this. I mean, not that you don't understand it anyway, but it's the reason Jeff Tedford got fired over Cal.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you raised the bar, you're almost there, and then you went back down, and people didn't realize like what you had before Tedford, and then what came after Tedford. It's like, maybe we should have kept Tedford. Maybe we should. Tedford was like the best thing we've had around here. Yeah. But again, once you raise the bar, people expect that every single. You can't do that.
When Jed fired Harbaugh, I wanted to give him some grace because I understood what was his mindset was, because Jim there were some difficulties and he didn't think it was trending well. So I wanted to kind of give Jen the benefit of the doubt on that, but then it's who you hire. And when he hired Jim Tomsula and then said at the press conference, Steve Kerr came in. And I'm like,
I was like, oh.
I worked with Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is a friend of mine. But you would have.
Sir, this is Steve Kerr.
but Jen would have gotten away with it. Nice Lloyd Benson recall.
With Scooby Doo?
Yeah.
He would have gotten away with
it. If it wasn't for that lousy record. But it's who you hire. So yeah, you're right. But I also don't believe that's a reason you keep a coach that doesn't work. You just hire better. I mean, listen, Kyle, I'm not saying he's infallible. I'm not saying there aren't reasons to be frustrated. I thought he didn't have a good year in 24 when it all went bad. I thought he had an incredible year last year, like respect. It was so challenging to stay at that level with those kind of significant injuries, and what a testament. I thought the win in Philly, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, that was, you see I'm wearing my Jerry Garcia shirt.
Yes, you are.
So, I landed in Philly after a long flying day, and right around when I landed on Saturday is when I got the news about Bobby Weir. And, I, of course, I saw Grateful Dead about 60 times, while Jerry was alive, and saw Bobby a bunch afterwards. And, so I like many, many, many people, had a lot of emotion, but I had this weird feeling, it was a very San Francisco-y, Bay Area, Grateful Dead. I don't know, it just felt different that Sunday. Probably because of where I was with Bobby's significance and knowing how much he loved the Niners. And it just felt that day like they're going to do something that's defiant and kind of special and very San Francisco. And I just hope people will always hold that game dear in that context. And it was really wild afterwards to, Kittle had the injury, but to stand there with McCaffrey and Juszczyk, who had gotten to meet him, they'd gone to the Sphere and gone to a show and gotten to meet Bobby, and their emotion, and that Kittle had put the thing on his cleats, and so I was able to even tie it into my story kind of organically.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. San Francisco is sometimes hard to explain to people who don't know it and love it, and the Bay Area's got its its flaws, but sometimes there's a, cosmic Bay Area thing that the rest of the world can't quite tap into. And I kind of felt it that day, but it was really the culmination of a, incredible job last season. Saul obviously did a great job, but whatever Kyle did, he should be proud of. And I think sometimes in this dumb, social media, like instant gratification era, people are very quick to scream and rant and, oh, he didn't win. Only one team wins. Obviously, it's the most important thing and it's the goal, but like there can be things that you are proud of that matter, like the We Believe Warriors would be an example, right? Like that was a thing they did. That was really cool, and even like, we saw it with the Warriors last year, just even winning that game in LA, the way they did it.
The playing game.
That was just a nice, it's like that can be a nice thing. That's not your goal. That's not what you hang your hat on. But, I just think sometimes you need to go, cool things are happening and it doesn't have to be a championship.
No, I agree. Is there any world in which you talk to people that know football, whether it be coaches, executive players, that Kyle isn't a top 5 coach?
Probably not. I mean, I think the only of the real football people, I think the only, thing that would be said is, in those crazy high yield games where it's not going well in the end, and it's really unfair to blame him as the coordinator for the Atlanta,
he's the only coordinator that's ever gotten blamed for a Super Bowl loss.
So I'm just talking,
which is wild.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 2, Super Bowls, by the way, against Patrick Mahomes. But I think some people would say, listen, is there something about the way he's, controlling it and being so, locked into what his method is, that when it gets into those moments, it's not free enough. I actually don't think that's a thing, and I think he'll just end up winning, just like Andy Reid did after all those years, and then it'll be like, oh yeah. But no, I think most people would definitely say top 5, and I think most people would say if you had to scheme somebody offensively for a given game, you would probably put him 1.
Yeah.
And then, look, you would just say, I think the other thing would just be, and I, in the wake of the accident, I know that he pulled back on some things because he had to make choices, right? His concussion was healing, so he decided what was most important and what he could delegate. And I'm wondering if maybe that could be a roadmap toward freeing him up a little bit, because what he does do is extraordinary. It's been described to me as, they knock down the house every week and then build a new one. And that is so, extraordinary. They don't just go, oh, well, here's what we do. We run our cool shit. We're going to tweak it. They go, oh, we have the Atlanta Falcons this week. We're going to deconstruct everything, craft an entire plan based on what we know about what they've been doing. And then each week is going to live its own entity. But when you do that as this schematic architect on offense and the head coach, week after week after week, it is, it beats you up and it's exhausting. And so I do wonder, in the wake of having to make these choices, will Kyle get to a point where he can go, okay, I can still do my brilliant things in my brilliant ways, but maybe loosen the grip on a few other things or delegate, and maybe that'll be a more sustainable system for him.
Yeah. Keys for the 49ers this year. Like, what's going to be the difference if they win or lose? If they get to the playoffs, get to the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, we know how good the division is with the Rams and the Seahawks, and we don't know how good the Cardinals will be. They'll probably lag behind, but we'll see. The NFL is weird that way. But what do you think the keys are going to be this year? What's going to determine whether they're going to reach their goals or not?
Well, usually when a team's coming off a terrible injury luck year, you go, well, that'll probably get better, right? Substation or otherwise. Sorry, I went that long without. And by the way, like I know Mayoko is coming in tomorrow. Like, if anyone should be affected by the substation based on time spent down there, I would argue Mayoko is like top 5 in the world.
He's been drooping a little bit on the left side.
I would explore that if you're. I've been there a lot, but he
glows a little bit.
He's been there more. So normally I'd go, well, I think they're going to probably have better injury luck, but I guess my concern would be the number of significant players who are either coming off of injuries or have played a ton of football, or both, is extraordinarily high for an NFL team. Yeah. So you do have some younger people. You have Purdy, you have Diamador Lenore, and a lot of promising young players.
Yeah, we'll see how Stribling does.
I'm eager. So there's a lot of promising young players that have either played or about to play that could really go a long way. But when you talk about, we are counting on many of the following people: Trent Williams, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and they all fit into one of those two or both of those categories. Drake Greenlaw, Christian McCaffrey. So that's a lot. So I think, to me, that is a challenge. Now, you're going to have injuries, and older players are going to be banged up, and you're not going to have all those guys. But it does feel very Warriors to me, where you start to go, A, can you get to the playoffs without wearing all those guys out? And then B, can you start to do the mental gymnastics? Because I gotta be honest with you, if you told me right now that Steve Kerr is going to coach in a playoff series this team, and they're all healthy, and it's Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Moses Moody, Draymond Green, Brandon Pajemski, I'm like, hey man, that team might be able to shock somebody. But then you go A, could they even get to the playoffs riding those guys? And B, are they ever going to all be healthy? Gary Payton. But then I'm like, well, maybe Lindenberg could be he's the Summer League MVP. So I guess that would be my first thing with the Niners. Are the Seigels and the Renardo Greens and the people who have flashed already at times going to be able to become your key players, game in, game out, Stribling, the newcomers? And then secondly, be that as it may, even if they are you going to have enough from the stars who are either coming off injuries, very well worn, or both in the end? And you happen to play in a division with maybe the top two teams on paper, but I after last year, I think you dare to dream.
Yeah. Did anybody ever buy into the substation?
I mean, I think the most significant thing about it is that players have, amongst themselves at least, wondered.
The ones that were talking to Kyrie Irving?
Didn't one of them say something about the trees?
I don't know.
I've said I'm not a mental health professional. I'm also not a scientist, just a journalist. But just a beer drinking journalist.
Have some of that. That's a good one.
Go to the pulp, baby.
The pulp is fantastic.
But I'm sure that you could just keep the facility there, and the injury rate will probably remain in the normal range of NFL and ebb and flow.
Yeah.
But if the perception becomes a thing where, because you don't know how players going to think. I mean, what about Marvin Barnes, who wouldn't get in the time machine? Sometimes, that. And for those who don't know, that was when
no time machine.
The old days of taking commercial flights, weren't they? They were going Indy to Chicago or something.
Correct.
And so you were going to have because of the 1 hour time change and
59-minute flight.
59. Yeah, the arrival time was less than
You took off at 8:00. You get it at 7:58.
And not only could he not wrap his head around it, he refused to board, saying, "I ain't getting no time machine."
It's just the best. God, that league may have the best stories of any league. ABA.
Oh my God!
I mean,
if
you haven't read Terry Pluto's Loose Balls, do so.
It's
an amazing league.
Great title too.
Great title. I didn't ask you this. It's about. We were talking about this about an hour ago about journalists and all that kind of stuff. You're talking about stories. You're really proud of the Baltimore story. That was a really cool story. Are there ones that nod at you that you didn't quite get right and you just said, God, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that? Because that's the hardest thing to do. I actually did that yesterday. I just came back on and go, oh, let me make an addendum to this.
Yeah.
But yours is print, right? It's gone and people have digested it and read it. What are some you could remember that you're just like, oh, I wish I would have included this, or I didn't quite get this the way I kind of wanted to? Do you remember any of those?
I'm honestly, usually it's the rare ones were like, there are a lot of times where I erred on the side of a relationship and not getting every single thing in, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm playing the long game and because I value so. And at SI, there were a lot of gray areas where maybe I was out with guys late, or there was a vague blurring of traditional journalistic lines. And at SI, I often had time to go back and circle back and go, hey, here's what I remember us talking about. Here's what the quote I would use.
Here's what I remember that night.
Here's what I scribbled in the bathroom when you thought I was just peeing again. I was like, but
wait, did you do that?
Oh yeah.
You went to the bath. You're in the bathroom, like.
Yeah, like at least bullet points, But I wouldn't just use those quotes, but you would journalistically go, okay, we talked about this. Hey, by the way, when you said that about your coach, here's what I remember. Here's the quote I would use. Would you put your name on that? So there were a few times where I made, middle of the night decisions because SI, the deadline was 9 a.m. Eastern the next day. And, usually erred on the side of, I just won't use that. But a couple of times I, in retrospect, pushed it in a way that upset, someone I cared about, had a relationship with, and they thought I burned them. And maybe I never blatantly, in my mind, burned anybody, but they felt like, oh, I wish you hadn't done that. So it's usually those. But it's funny. I'll tell you a story that happened that I was really proud of this last January. So after the 49ers lost to the Seahawks in the regular season finale to decide the division, I went into the Seahawks locker room at Levi's and I talked to Cooper Kupp, who known for a long time, great relationship with him, and I kind of knew that it ended weird with him and the Rams from what he and I had talked about, but not granularly. And we got into a conversation and he shared some things about how kind of bad it had gotten. And I didn't write it then. It was technically on the record, but I felt like, well, maybe if they play the Rams, that would be the time to drop it. And especially if they Seahawks win, because I don't want it to look all bitter, might be the time. And so it turned out that they played each other in the NFC Championship game. Well, during the time in between, that had led me to some other reporting, which included that the Rams and Seahawks coaching staffs got into a near elevator brawl. So that night game in Seattle, that was that crazy regular season game. Yeah. So what had happened was Cooper had fumbled in the first half of that game.
Remember that.
And in Seattle, the two staffs get out of their booths and there's just one little elevator and a little hallway. And so as the two staffs were spilling out at the end of the first half, somebody on the Rams side one coach asked another, hey, who fumbled on that play? And somebody said, oh, it was Cooper. And one of the Rams assistants kind of sneered and said, oh, figures, like kind of condescending toward Cooper Kupp, who's this beloved player. One of the Seahawks assistants, Chris Partridge, who came from that Harbaugh, Michigan staff and, didn't like it. He stepped toward, then a Rams assistant came at him, and it was a whole to-do. It got back to Cooper. Seahawks went on a heater in the second half. Kupp made a great play. They won the game. So there was all this lingering animosity. So I had, from both sides, Rams and Seahawks, really good reporting on that stuff, and I was eager to share that with the world. And after the game, Seahawks won or going to the Super Bowl, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I kind of need to litigate this with Cooper and warn him, like, hey, the stuff we talked about, which was on the record, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna do it this way. And the locker room was closed for so long that by the time I got in there, he and his family were gone, and he wasn't texting back as I was right. So at some point, I had a decision to make, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna just do what I think is best here. It's like 2 a.m. He hasn't texted back, so I wrote it knowing what I know. I only quoted him once. It was a very vague quote, but it acknowledged that it ended bad with the Rams.
Yeah.
It was an on-the-record quote. I left a lot of direct quotes out of it, and story dropped, bomb. It was cool. I was proud of it. No one would have ever known. It's, my type of thing. And I was actually, as I was flying home, was communicating with Diana, who I worked with, who we have a thing where even when you get something great and you break it cold and it's on the record and they know it's coming, there's always something, man. Someone's always mad, I didn't think it, and so
I thought we were just talking, man. What do you mean?
And so now that it's out, so she was like, hey, have you heard from Cooper? I figured the Rams would be mad, but like, I didn't want Cooper to feel upset about it. And she's like, and I'm like, no, he still hasn't got back to me. And, I was just kind of dreading it. And I finally got home, and I do all the laundry in our household. So I was naturally doing laundry. And like, as I'm loading the machine, my phone, and I see text Cooper Kupp, and I kind of just like put my head down, and it was the nicest text. He thanked me, said that he and his wife were grateful for the way I'd handled it. He loved the fact that, he wasn't quoted on some specifics. And it was just like the rare win in that context.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that feels so good. So long-winded way of saying, sometimes I regret it. I wish I could have written it this way, or I got that. But it's usually the real regrets are when I feel like someone feels like I didn't play that delicate thing right, and in retrospect I'm like, I probably should have been a little more timid on that.
What do you mean you do the laundry?
I mean, so my wife,
because we do our own laundry here in this house.
So
you get something dirty, you do your laundry.
Well, so here's what happens. So my wife grew up in the Sierra foothills, Apple Hill, up near Placerville, with 4 brothers, and I'm pretty sure that the way her mom did laundry, or anyone else in that house, was, hey, let's take a bunch of clothes and just blast it out. They weren't hang drying specific things. They weren't worried about bleeding colors. It was just
so everything was one color.
Everything was one color. So that's how my wife learned to do laundry. So first, like my daughter, when she was young, my oldest, she started having some nicer clothes, and I'd be like, it says hang dry here. It's going to shrink. And then what really happened was they all started playing youth sports, and I became the equipment manager because, they're not going to have a smelly uniform on game day. Yeah. So then...
Can't have that funk.
So then it morphed into, I don't trust you to do any laundry. And now for the last however many decades, I just do all
who's
laundry.
In the house now? Is it just you and your wife?
Our youngest, Robbie, who works...
How old Robbie?
He's 24, but he has a job in Sacramento, so he's humoring us by living with us.
Robbie could do his own laundry.
He could, but
he could do his own laundry.
I'm rewarding him for living with us.
No, he could do... What?
Oh, yeah.
Come do his own laundry.
No, I love having him live with us. He gives me cover when I'm on the road, unless he's not so lonely. Robbie's actually, unlike, some other kids that I won't mention who may or may not, be skilled at broadcasting or not. Robbie's like always the first guy to do the dishes, or,
Well, then I guess that changes the dynamics a little bit.
Yeah, like Robbie's.
That changes the dynamics.
Like, I feel like maybe another male child I have, when he rolls into town, he's great. He's a great kid. He's great energy. But I don't feel like when, the last person has cleared their plate, like he's up and
he's doing
getting
stuff
after it necessarily. I think he's just enjoying being home. Whereas Robbie will actually
contribute.
Work. Yes,
he can just.
So Greg can do. Like Greg can do his own laundry.
Yeah, Greg, do your own fucking laundry.
Yeah, exactly.
You're crying out loud. And don't bleed the colors.
Yeah, come on, Greg.
Okay, we're good.
Come on, Greg.
Do your own.
And you know what, Greg? You're fired. Oh wait, too soon. Sorry.
Probably too soon. But you're his dad, so you do what you want to do.
Well, if you gave me,
I wouldn't do it.
If you gave me,
if you feel comfortable,
if you gave me a shirt that said Cumulus, I'd be like, hey, who could I fire when they're going through like a life-threatening battle right now medically abruptly, and then not even like put them in the press release? And then how could I handle it from a PR perspective that could be just like really, sensitive and smart? But I digress.
Where's the NFL going with?
It's good beer, by the way.
That's a Pulp's really good. Pulp's fantastic. So where do you think the NFL is going? I know I keep jumping all over the place, but I keep thinking of things that I want to ask you. With the international games, and I know Roger Goodell said there will be a team overseas one of these days. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. If there's only one team over there, it would seem natural to have 4 teams over there. They play each other and then travel over here occasionally. But that's what we're going to with all these international games, is trying to get more fans worldwide, which, makes perfect sense. Every league does a little bit of dabbling in that. The NFL is really starting to expand, right, with Australia and Mexico and England and Germany. And am I missing? Brazil. Yeah, Brazil.
Paris this year.
That's right. There's going to be a game in Paris. Like, I want the Niners to go play in Germany or Paris again so I can go back over there. Because we go to one game. We're going to Seattle this year because I've never been to Seattle to see a game.
Have you never been to that? Oh, you're going to love it.
Never
You're going to love it.
So we're going to catch it.
You should. If you want to catch Cooper Kupp, though, get in the locker room quick, man.
Well, I'm not reporting. I'm going to be drunk by that. No, I won't be. No. No, we're going to go to a Kraken game. We're going to go to a Husky game.
Wow. Oh, who the Huskies play?
Iowa.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Iowa travels. I'll be traveling.
That game might be like 14-13.
It might be 14-13.
That's going to be a slugfest. There's going to be like some tight end named like, Craig Krenzel, who grew up on a farm, throwing the hay bales.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. And he's going to be like, 6'3", about, like a chubby 255, and he's going to run like a 4.6, but he's going to get open in the clutch.
He's an Iowa tight end. That's what Iowa tight ends do. That is tight end university.
Except for Kittle. He's a freak.
Who do we have? We got Kittle, Laporta, Hawkinson.
Yeah, there's a bunch of older ones, too. I'm trying to think.
Because remember who used to be tight end university before Iowa?
Arizona?
Nope.
They had Gronk.
Stanford.
Oh yeah, no
Stanford.
Stanford's kind of
Clark way back
Stanford's kind of a hybrid too, because they not only had the tight end run, which is amazing, they also have like a lot of big wide receivers.
Yeah.
Who could, like Evan Moore became a tight end in the NFL.
Yeah.
So like Stanford's number one. Like every time I go to a big game, I always like look at Stanford warming up, and I'm like, I don't think we're gonna be able to cover that guy on like the high ball. Like they always have like a Colby Parkinson, he's
Colby Parkinson,
6'8".
Yep, exactly.
And our little like scrappy DB who's like 5'10" in the slot's gonna have to cover that guy downfield.
What is the future of international play with the NFL, you think?
Yeah, I think playing a Super Bowl there is actually a really good idea.
Really?
I don't like the time change will be weird, although I come from an era where the Super Bowl was like daytime on the West Coast, which I thought was cool.
It was cool.
So listen, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm a connoisseur of Super Bowl cities. New Orleans is the best. I like the condensed ones, not the spread out ones. But I will tell you, like if you ask me, you have a choice for an upcoming Super Bowl. It's Jacksonville, where they had one, atrocious. Minneapolis, Siberian Super Bowl. Yeah, that was really fun because I spent 9 days there. Siberian Super Bowl, great idea. Or London, I'm like, I think London, like it's a world-class city. Yeah. It would be a blast. I get why, American fans would say, I don't want to go all the way over there, or we don't want to lose. But I'm telling you, a London Super Bowl would be dope. Could you actually get a full division there? You've got. There's the tax things. There's different things to kind of consider, and it would be hard for you'd have to change the scheduling formula. You couldn't have the NFC West going over to that division once every 4 years, whatever. But I think you could do that. I think the other model that a lot of people have talked about, which is a really achievable thing in the short term because they're trending towards it, is if you went to an 18-game schedule, or even if you kept it at 17, it actually works well with 17. Then you have 8 home games, you have 8 road games, and then everybody plays an international game, and then you can sell a season ticket slate.
Yeah.
So if there are 18 weeks with a bye week and 17 games, and there are 18 international games, that essentially is the 17th game, or I guess 17 of them, and you put an international bye week in. You could sell that as a big season ticket slate, or 2 slates. You could have one that's like the London side, and one in Ireland, and and then one that's more the other side of Europe. I don't know, or I think when you start messing with Asia and Australia and South America, it gets harder, but Mexico certainly. I don't know. I get why the NFL is into it. It's cool to share it with the world. It does present some logistical struggles. Also, Tom, I'm at an age now where things like this get brought up, and I've completely gotten to the age where I'm like, I don't think that's going to be an issue in my time. I'm not going to be like covering the NFL day to day when there's an international division. I feel like.
Yeah.
So that's Greg Silver's problem, not mine.
Greg Silver's problem.
If he would do his damn laundry.
Is there odds that Aaron Donald comes back and plays this year?
Felt like it was happening, but
it did. It's kind of lingered.
I mean, he definitely wasn't like, God, I really miss training camp.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, because he retired under contract with them and wants to play for them, he can literally do it at any time, I think, or maybe at least before the playoffs.
Yeah, I was thinking, does he pull a Roger Clemens and just comes back midway through the season?
I mean, why not? I mean, if he wants to, if and when he wants to, he will. I don't have any reporting on it, but my sensibility is that if he was like all in, I'm just going to go play the full season like Aaron Donald, he would have already done it. But that doesn't preclude him. Also, like, if you're Aaron Donald and you're looking at it, are you like, Australia? And with the way the Rams are doing Australia, we just fly in and fly out. Aren't you like, I'll catch you week 2, and then the other thing with Australia, I want all fans to understand this, like, you have to root for the 49ers in this game, regardless of whether you're a 49er or Ram fan. If you're neutral in any way, especially, you got to root for the Niners because you have 2 very different approaches. The Rams are doing this weird experiment where you like pretend you're not there, you fly in, you play, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
Well, that's a drag. But the 49ers are doing the opposite. They're like, no, we're going to go for a week and acclimate. So I think like the spirit of those games is you want the team around. You want them to be able to experience the country and like go do stuff. Like, I don't want to get, if the Rams win, we're going to start seeing NFL teams just doing that dumb, like, we're here, we're not really here. And then, like, that's no fun for anyone. It's no fun for the media covering it because you can't justify, like, an actual trip. Yeah. It's just a lot of time in a damn airplane. And I don't know if people know this, but people who don't fly on the team plane and are paid by their media companies often are sitting in coach seats, and that's no fun.
20 hours in a coach seat.
That's too far, man.
That's rough. Are you going to that game?
Oh, I'm not.
Lucky you. Look at you.
No, I'm not.
Escaped that one.
I have a feeling Eric Donald's not either, and I wonder if Kyle, like, as he was going through his concussion recovery, if there was a part of him that was like, could this get me out of Australia? That would be cool.
Biggest storyline for you this year, or some of the biggest storylines that you're interested to see how they play out?
One big one is the Bills. You've got this weird thing where, Mahomes has sucked up all the Super Bowls in that quarterback-rich conference. Yep. Burrow went to one. And last year the skies opened up, and so you have Lamar and Josh Allen, 2 undeniably great quarterbacks who have won MVPs, in Lamar's case too, and are clearly great, but have yet to even go to a Super Bowl, and their primes are proceeding, and they're getting toward 30, and it's like, man, well, Lamar, they fired John Harbaugh, they hired an untested coach. He's under the gun, but Josh Allen, they fired Sean McDermott, they promoted the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, who's Josh Allen's guy. They are under the gun. So I'm really anxious to see. That could be, wow, first-year coach, and they went over the hump. Or it could be, oh, God, that didn't go well. They open against the Houston Texans, another team under the gun with the whole C.J. Stroud thing. But in my opinion, the Houston Texans should be the Super Bowl favorite in the AFC. That defense is insane. And so I am so anxious to see how the Bills in that first game against the Texans in Houston come out of the gate. And I think all year long, that is a pressure cooker.
Yeah, I think C.J. Stroud's going to have a fantastic year. I've been following this trend for a while now. It's a little-known trend. I like to follow little-known. Everybody knows the big trends. Everybody knows that stuff. But when you go as a quarterback, or even any position, when you go from braids to afro, everybody knows this one. Like, everybody, you know this one. So he's going to have a good, he's going to have a good year. He's going to have a big year. It's like, he said, let's ditch the braids.
I'm wondering if there's any way I could go from braids to afro, and I don't think
you can't.
I think that ship has sailed.
I can't go from anything to anything.
No, you cannot.
I cannot.
I'm just trying to keep hair for another day, as much of it as I can.
It's so interesting, though, with C.J. Stroud, because he was so good early on.
It's crazy.
And then just completely lost it. And then, because the identity of that football team, when he was probably a rookie, I guess, was him, Nico Collins, Tank Dell before he got hurt, and they were rolling. And then all of a sudden, the identity of the team just became defense.
Yeah.
Just defense and don't screw up too much.
Yeah.
And that's a different mentality for a quarterback. Like, I'll be honest, I've watched a lot of NFL playoff games. The quarterbacking in that Patriots-Texans game was about as bad as I've ever seen in a playoff game.
Here's how
both sides were awful.
Here's how bad. And I had been at the Pittsburgh game where CJ kept, mishandling the ball, but they survived it because that defense chewed up Aaron Rodgers and spit him out. It's bad when I'm watching an NFL playoff game, and I covered a different one that week, so I was watching on TV, and I'm saying to the TV, you should quick kick and get the ball back in Drake May's hands to give your defense a chance to rip it out of his hands and score.
And you weren't wrong.
Because that is a great path to victory, because C.J. Stroud looks like he's throwing up in his mouth right now.
Yeah, it was bad.
And easy for me to say. But, you're right. Drake May, who does fumble the ball, and that defense, I was like, oh, they're going to score. The Patriots did enough, including that crazy one-handed catch by Keyshawn Butte, who the Texans just traded for.
I just saw that.
But I was, that defense is not going to stay like that forever. That defense has to win right now. Yep. And you know how it is in the locker room. If one side's doing their part and the other side's not, eventually that starts becoming a weird thing.
You're like, can you just give us 17?
Yeah.
Just give us 17.
Yeah. So, and by the way, had C.J. Stroud found a way to win that game, they were going to play Jarrett Stidham in the snow for the right to go to the Super Bowl. So now you're in the Super Bowl probably.
Probably, because that defense would have eaten out. I mean, New England's defense was good. And look, I think I'm a big fan of Sean Payton. If he kicks that field goal early on in the game to go up 10-0,
I know.
With that weather coming, I don't want to say it's over, because it's probably not over, but then maybe Stidham doesn't throw that ghastly pick because he doesn't feel like he has to, because you're already up. It's just I get why you want to go for it, but man, read a fucking Doppler.
It's funny if you go back,
weather coming in.
If you go back to the Niners-Lions NFC Championship game, so it's 24-7 at the half.
Yep.
The Niners go down and get a field goal, and that's when the Lions, Dan Campbell in field goal range goes for it for the first of 2 times on fourth down, which was this thing, which was their identity.
What they did.
I think if I could have spoken to Dan Campbell for the press box, what I would have said to him in that moment was, I know fourth down's your thing. If you understood the psychology of Kyle and being down 24/7, getting it back to 2 possessions right away, and then going down 3 possessions would have tweaked him. And understandably, like, I think Kyle would have been like unnerved, like, shit, we just had 2 possessions and it's still 17. And it would have led to a different mentality potentially. So I think if Dan Campbell could have thought like I thought in that moment, he would have kicked the field goal.
Yeah.
He didn't.
That's not what he does.
The ball bounced off the. And by the way, I don't want to undersell that. Like, people talk about that game, and it's like the ball bounced off the face mask, and Dan Campbell went for it on fourth down. Like, by the way, Brock Purdy led a 49er team back from 17 down in the NFC Championship game to win and go to the Super Bowl. That's some epic shit, and I don't think Purdy tends to get. I understand why people are like, well, is he a game manager and he was drafted late? Whatever you think, he did that, among other things. But he did that. That's heroic, epic shit that should not be underplayed.
No. I mean, I've made the argument time and time and time again that if you were to go conventional wisdom, their top quarterbacks are Allen Jackson, Mahomes, Burrow, Stafford. Yeah, and I put Stafford in there, even though he's older, but then after that, you got a whole group of guys, right? You got Caleb, you got Herbert, you got
Goff,
you got Purdy, you had Love there, Dak.
I don't think Love's there yet.
Maybe not.
When he looks good, he is.
Yeah. But I've made the case I could put Purdy at 6.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, you're crazy. I'm like, I know why you think I'm crazy because of where he's drafted and what his body looks like. He doesn't look like a guy.
Right.
Like, Caleb Williams looks like a guy. Herbert looks like a guy. Yeah. Herbert has never won a playoff game.
No, he has not. He's not even really played well in a playoff game.
He hasn't played well at all. So I just think sometimes people get it in their head that where you were drafted, like they're like thinking eventually it's going to come out.
Yep.
No, we're beyond that now.
Yeah.
We're beyond that now.
Yeah, dude, Zach Wilson was the second pick of the draft, man.
Second pick of the draft.
Like, it could happen, dude.
Yeah.
But then again, there's Darnold, which is amazing. Like, Darnold was.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You know?
You're right. All right, let me ask you this, because you know Aaron Rodgers fairly well, don't you?
Yeah.
Are there times, like, when he says stuff, you think,
yeah. Sure.
Not sure about that.
I'll give you an example.
Like, I'm just always curious what his deal is. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like, what's your deal?
I don't
I feel
know.
like the Harbaugh Bowl.
I mean, I'll give
Harbaugh Pete Carroll. What's your deal? What's your deal? What's your deal?
I'll give you an example. I went out there a few weeks ago, talked to him, had a long, good conversation, talked about how he was sick during that Texans game, which no one knew, how, like, all sorts of cool stuff. Turned it around and wrote it pretty fast. Like, got it up about a day and a half later. I was already up in Pittsburgh with the Bills, and story dropped. Cool, nice get. First Aaron Rodgers one-on-one since he came back to the Steelers. Yeah. Can read it in The Athletic. I thought I wrote it pretty well. And I had about, I don't know, hour 36 of, like, feeling good about that. And next thing I knew, Fauci, like, he's going off on Fauci. And I'm like, I don't know. Personally, I'm a big Fauci fan, being someone who, understands that science is really important, and, like, what he did in the AIDS crisis and many other things. And also, like, we were in a global pandemic, and, like, a lot of stuff was going down, and we were, like, trying to figure a lot of things out and relying on the best minds we had. Yeah. And yeah, I know it might have sucked in retrospect that kids had to stay home from school and we didn't like it, but, like, I do think, like, millions of other people might have died if we also were like, so I don't know. I just kind of see that stuff differently. And even if I did think that I understood all that better, I probably wouldn't be one who publicly thought I could, weigh in on that level. So yeah, he does say stuff where I'm just like, but look, I don't have to agree with everyone on everything. I personally, I'm Team Fauci. If I met Fauci, I would probably like bow down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle on that. I will say this: I think he tried to do what he thought was best. I think, in almost impossible circumstances, because it never happened before. There was no
correct
ledger telling you how to handle this situation. But there are clearly things that,
in retrospect,
that were wrong.
In retrospect, we could have done some stuff better.
And yes, and look, science changes. That's the great thing about science. It's like, well, wait a minute, you said this. Well, yeah, I got new information now. Here's the problem I have. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. Because there are times where I listen to Aaron Rodgers speak, and I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, eventually I end up going, no. He has smartest guy in the room itis.
Like, who were we talking about earlier? Oh, Ennis Cantor.
Yes, exactly. Well, he just thought, hey, wait a minute, maybe I'm smart. Like, no, you're not. You're not. You get it right. It wasn't that hard to say free.
Yeah, the problem is Aaron really is smart.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
He is really smart.
Yeah.
But when you're the smartest, I've always said, when you're the smartest guy in the room, you never think you're the smartest guy in the room. You always think they're smarter than you. Does he have a little bit of that? Smartest guy in the room-itis?
Yeah, I think he does. And I'm more forgiving of it, I think, when the person is demonstratively smart. But in a way, I'm less forgiving of it because I'm like, bro, you're so smart. Why are you, going into this weird, the thing he said about Sandy Hook, I think we would all agree was kind of regrettable.
Yeah.
That's rough. Listen, I try to, as I get older, I try to be more humble or a little more humble than in the past on some stuff. So I personally know that I don't have all the answers and all that. And, I think when people are genuinely trying to figure stuff out and come from a good place, we can have all sorts of conversations. Yeah. But I think it's hard for people to be told with certainty, this is that. And, it's so I don't know. I mean, Aaron and I go back a long way. I would say this, Cal does have a weirdo quotient, and I'm part of that, right? And so, if you look back at that 2004 huddle and you say, well, Aaron Rodgers clearly was the weirdest guy in that huddle. Well, Marshawn Lynch was in that huddle.
Yes, he was.
And I say that affectionately.
I love Marshawn.
Maybe he was the weirdest guy in that huddle.
Maybe.
And, weird things happen in that stadium, like the play or, stuff gets weird. And I like it usually when stuff gets weird, but, sometimes.
Limit to the weirdness.
Sometimes, Berkeley's got some weirdness. So I'll leave it at that.
There's no doubt it has some weirdness. Last thing, and this isn't even a huge thing. Maybe I'll have one more. But I want to ask you about grass fields. World Cup comes in, tears up all these fields, makes some grass fields, and then a lot of these places will go right back to having turf fields. Your most important assets are your players, which is one thing that I think, not just one thing, but the main thing that Mark Cuban got right when he took over the Mavericks. He said, look, these are most important assets.
Yeah.
Let's make it easier on them.
Yeah.
Let's give them great training facilities. Let's give them dietitians. Let's give them great travel.
You gave one guy housing that we know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever you want.
Gave Dennis a place to crash.
And then they won't have any excuses. Why doesn't the NFL look at it that way? That these are our greatest assets. Let's try to keep them as healthy as possible. No one's buying the injury rates are about the same between the turf and the grass. Grass is better.
Yeah, because they want to be able to do what's financially best, which includes hey, we want to have concerts there. So you've got stadiums that have
I get it, but Jesus,
roofs on them, like in Arizona, where you slide the grass.
Yeah.
So
and look, I think the Raiders have that too, don't they?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be a dick here because I've already talked about it, and you and I are not judgy people, but it costs more than $140 sometimes to
140
get just a random amount I'll throw out. But no, I mean, I think
say 140.
I think good owners will arrive at that, but there aren't 32 good owners.
Yeah.
Jed is a good owner, so 49er fans rejoice. But There aren't 32 good owners, and the reason they did it for the World Cup is because FIFA says bend over, and people do if they want it.
Yeah.
Like Chicago didn't. Chicago was like, we don't even want your games. We're Chicago. We don't need it. But like everyone else was like, okay, FIFA.
Yeah.
I'll dress up in like a pig tutu and walk around and like whatever. I'll meet you at the trailer park. Whatever. I gotta stop. Anyway, but like I do think you could make a case to have grass everywhere. I don't even like domes. I think retractable roofs at least.
I'm with you.
Yeah, like
God, give me some elements. That's part of football, the elements.
But like, if you want to do the Cuban method and take care of your players, here's an example of what you could do, because someone needs to explain to me why we can't have this. So the reason that there used to only be 45 people on a team is very clear. They didn't want to pay more salaries.
Yes.
They didn't want to have more employees. So eventually they got a deal where they're like, okay, we'll give you 53 employees, but only 45 of them can be active. Why? Why can't 53 be active? What? Why do we? What? Okay, well we have 4 of them hurt, so we can only have 49 today. Okay, well we have 8 who are healthy. We can have 53. Why do we have to designate inactives and play that dumb game? Would the world come to an end if we had 53 guys active? Whoa, then you're opening up a whole can of worms. Then maybe we need to create 3 more jobs and have inactive. Okay, but like they don't want to create more jobs. It's like the NBA used to have 12 and now there's 15. Like it's just more jobs.
Yeah.
And benefits and pension.
Yes.
And so if you really cared about injuries and players and you're extending the season and guys are getting bigger, stronger, faster and all that, like get more dudes on the sideline who can play the game in the game.
You can't make stuff up.
Yeah.
It's just like what. But now Buffalo's new stadium, they have real grass, do they not? Let me check. Somebody check for
bad grass. I think the players didn't like it or something.
Yeah, but I think you're right. But I think remember Levi's was bad grass until they got it right. Now everybody loves the grass.
Yeah.
At Levi's.
Natural
Natural
Kentucky bluegrass.
bluegrass. So yeah, natural. Can we get some Sesame in there? Caddyshack. Is it Sesame or Kentucky bluegrass? No, but my point.
Legally so in the state of New York.
Look,
I would
weather doesn't get any worse than Buffalo in another NFL city. Like that's about as cold and as snowy as it can get. And yet they decided, let's not go roof.
Right.
They got the overhangs to protect the seats.
Yeah.
And let's have some football outdoors in the weather on natural grass. Like if they can do it, then anybody can do it if they want to do it.
Yes.
And I'm with you. There are too many domes.
I don't like domes.
Why do we have a fucking dome in New Orleans? Think of what's the weather like in New Orleans. Like, oh my God, it's cloudy. Let's play in like, and I get it because of the city, because of the conventions. They want to, but to me, that's the one thing baseball has over every sport is like it's outside for the most part.
Tampa, right?
And I think Tampa might be getting an outdoor stadium soon, although I'm not sure if it's going to be indoor or not. But Toronto is retractable.
Oh, good. Also, like
I think Texas is retractable.
Also, if you get the right hotel room.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can see the field, but they can see you too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I think
famously somebody saw something one time.
I remember that.
Because I've stayed in that hotel, like when Ricky Williams was up on the Argonauts, I stayed at that hotel, and they make you sign something when you check in if you're facing.
Oh, really?
That you will not engage in exhibitionism. You can engage, just you got to close the blinds.
Interesting.
Or whatever.
So Jed York shouldn't stay there.
Wow.
Oh, well, you're throwing the 140s in the trailer parks, and I'm a wow.
God, Tom, you're so cold, man. Grow up, dude. Grow up.
Oh, wow.
Come on, man. Have some decency. Hey. Have you no decency, sir?
Trust me, when you do that, if you're getting jokes made about you, that's the least of your worries.
I think,
and you should expect it. By the way,
I think he knows.
Of course he knows. Of course he knows. I think he would have liked to at least shave though before the mugshot. Good Lord! And I thought it was.
Can you imagine, like, like they're telling you, hey, you got to put the orange jumpsuit on first before the mug.
And it's a V-neck. Oh, it's so bad. That V-neck looks awful.
Honestly,
I'd be like, can I get a crew neck?
Yeah, honestly,
I mean, this looks fucking.
That might be the worst part of the whole.
I mean, I gotta
thing.
wear a fucking V-neck.
Oh god,
this thing looks like shit on me. I have no like. I'm not big. I can't wear a fucking. I don't got. You gotta have pecs to wear a V-neck. And like he just like kind of in like ugh.
I'm gonna say
like,
I'm gonna venture to say that I would be bad in jail in every way in any context. There's nothing about me being in jail that would go well. Got a big mouth. I'm not tough. I think
the big mouth would hurt you both two ways.
Yeah,
yeah.
It might be filled. I
don't know what I meant by that.
By some yeah. Yeah. And
you know what's gonna live with him longer than all this is $140. $140. If it was $3,000, people would be like, whatever, $3,000, cool. I mean, that's what you should do. $140. I can't get out of Safeway for under $2. And this guy went $140. Like, I would have to bring back some cereal to get to $140. Like, you know what? I really don't need the tricks. No pun intended.
I'm gonna ask an honest.
I don't know why. I'm
gonna ask an honest question, and you may not know the you may not know the answer to this, but
I may.
You've talked to enough people.
Okay.
Do you tip in that? Like the interaction happens, and it's $140.
I don't know that.
Like if I get a massage for $140, which is about like a massage price in Northern California.
Yeah. Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Or more. But like, let's say I get a massage for $140. I feel like I'm giving $20 after if it's a nice massage. And I mean a real massage, not like happy ending, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So like I had a nice massage for $140 and I'm giving a tip for $20.
So you're saying tip after, not
yeah.
During. Okay.
So I'm saying like in that interaction, does it end up being like, do you tip? Hypothetically.
I never even thought of
Maybe
that.
ask Mayoko tomorrow, because
Yeah. Maybe ask Mayoko.
Maybe he knows.
Maybe ask Mayoko.
Hey, also, what are criminal tools?
Well, I think the criminal tool was the phone.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I think criminal. I know it's not what you're thinking.
I would rather have.
I know it's not that.
I would rather have an announcement that went over every device in the world about me saying that I used a cell phone to engage in an illegal act than be charged with using criminal tools. Just the vague, like, what does that mean? That's a weird thing. Sounds like, what? At first I was like, did he set off some firecrackers? Like, what's going on?
You realize how much different the story would be if he got caught paying a high-priced call girl $3,000 at a Ritz-Carlton as opposed to $140 at Wheat Hills Community or Wheat Hills Trailer Park. It takes it like your mind just goes.
Is that the most famous trailer park in America now?
I would think so. The residents probably aren't super happy about it.
Or maybe there'll be a reality show.
Look,
did you see what the owner of the trailer park said?
What?
He was like, I just want to make it clear.
It was a fake address, man.
He just pulled over here.
Yeah.
He just pulled over here.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Pretty soon that owner it'll be the Bunny Ranch of East Palestine.
The Bunny Ranch of East Palestine. I mean, and the fact that the city's named East Palestine, I mean, just to add on to it, it's just all bad. It just all looks bad. So again, maybe it's not different. Maybe it is different. But it's like a bombshell for $3,000 at a Ritz-Carlton.
He's gonna bounce back from this.
No, I think he'll be fine. No, I think it's fine.
But the jokes, you're right. The jokes will persist.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
Look, sorry.
You
did it to yourself.
I would want people to make those jokes about me if I were caught in that.
Yeah, I mean, what'd Chris Myers say? We kid because we care. Or not. I don't know. I think I care. But
just don't put God third, whatever you do.
What if I don't even have God on there?
That's fine. Then God's like, okay, I wasn't even in this.
Okay, but not third.
I'm not saying that I'm a God first guy. I'm saying I'm too scared to tell God you're third. If there is whatever God there is, I'm scared that like I'm going to get struck by lightning if I'm like, all right, man, listen, or woman, hey, listen, I've assessed it, and it's like Grateful Dead first, Cal football second. God
third.
I just don't want it like that.
You're not a religious guy, though, are you?
No.
I'm not a religious. You know what's weird? I'm not a religious guy. I still pray every night.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah. You can be spiritual,
but I'm not even sure I'm that. I don't know what I am. I just got into a habit of doing it.
I mean,
for like
I believe
years,
that.
spiritual.
I believe that there are higher forces out there. Like I also don't know. So like for the record, whatever I believe, like I also don't know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, like people who think they know, I distrust.
If you know, you're gone. Well, the funny part about it is though, I just say it's the prayer and then kind of say goodbye to everybody that I've lost.
Yeah.
That meant something to me. And I always got to think like, well, what about this person? That person didn't make the cut. Should I add them in like at night? Should I add them in?
See, that's a very Jewish way to think with the guilt, or Catholic.
But then I'm like, well, fuck, this is getting too long. I got to cut some people out.
Yeah, it's kind of like really, life.
Yeah, I'm like, I really
not everyone can sit here in the backyard and talk about this stuff with you.
I got the animals. I got my dad.
You got your people.
And then some people just, sorry.
Some people stay so long.
You didn't make the cut.
Some people stay so long that they're in rush hour now.
It's the weirdest thing now that I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm anti-religion, but I'm not religious and I still pray every night. It's more habit than anything.
We definitely, whatever we are, we pray for Greg Papa.
We do pray for Greg Papa, absolutely. Hopefully, we'll be back calling games. Be back doing not doing the show.
Well, maybe for a different company.
maybe with a different company, but.
Well, did you see what NBC said today? They added him to the pre and post game.
Oh, they did. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, Mike. They added him to the pre and post.
Great.
Yeah,
good.
So he'll be
as they should. Good.
The post and Mike Silver. You can catch all his stuff in the Athletic.
That's right. Did they issue a press release? NBC? Did they put his name in the email?
I think they did.
Oh, good.
I think they did.
That's good.
I think they did. I'm pretty sure.
Good PR. Good move by NBC.
Thanks for coming over, man.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Hopefully, I'm not going to kill you. You might be able to get out. Traffic, maybe.
For you, I will.
Maybe
I'll spiritually awaken on the ride home.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
All right, coming up tomorrow, we'll talk to Matt Mayoko. We'll get his thoughts on $1.40 and tipping. But Mike Silver seems to think that Matt Mayoko will know about tipping when it comes to hookers. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's tipping.
No, I didn't say he would know. I said you should just ask him. He's a great journalist.
There's tipping after. I'm not sure that's how you phrased it.
I'm just saying, like, he happens to be coming over. Maybe he's done some reporting on it. I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather tip a hooker than tip like Stanley Steamer. Comes over, cleans your carpet. You know you need to tip them.
You know who
Why does everybody feel like they need to get tipped nowadays?
You know who we don't tip, but we arguably should tip. And I had this conversation with Joe Horn, the former football player.
Yep.
Pilots. You just flew me successfully on an airplane. I tip an Uber driver. A pilot took me on an airplane and made me land. Like, I overpaid for the airline fare, but like, here's $20, bro. Thank you for doing that. That was awesome.
No.
I mean, I don't, but
no, and you shouldn't. We already tip enough people.
But Tom, you're distracting from the real question, which is, do people tip prostitutes?
Well, we don't know the answer.
And I'm not saying Mayoko would know from experience. I'm saying he's a great journalist.
I hope not.
No, I know, but he's a great journalist.
Jeez.
You should ask him.
I should. Does anybody know that? Does anybody know? That's a great question. We need to find the answer.
Oh, wait. Does anybody know? Yes, lots of people know.
I'm gonna guess no.
I don't know.
I'm gonna guess no.
I literally don't know.
I'm gonna guess you don't tip hookers.
Someone's thought of it. If you tip after a massage, someone's like, "Wow, Janie, that was."
Well, that's a massage.
My guess is 80% of the clientele are not tipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jed York's clientele.
Can you do some? Can you ask AI on this?
Do you tip strippers after the
no
private dance?
Well, I haven't done that in a while. So, but no, I'd give him 20.
I would.
Is it still 20?
If I were.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe
it depends on where you go.
To Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
If
you got the eye patch and the
if
peg
I were
leg,
ever to tip a stripper, it would be for sparing me the story with her fake name about how she's going back to school and is really an intellectual.
So you didn't.
I've heard.
So you don't tip strippers.
I don't go to strip clubs, so I don't know.
When's that? Well, I know you've been to a strip club.
Well,
you wrote a book about Dennis
I'm a journalist. Yeah, a journalist.
Of course, you went to
as a journalist.
Club. You might know about the strip clubs too.
My first
Matt Mayoko.
Matt Mayoko probably knows.
He probably has heard. The first interview I did with Edgar James was at a strip club, and he said, "You can say we're at a strip club." I'm like, okay.
I mean, I don't even know, like, because I'm still like old school, kind of like you get. I don't just give somebody a tip for doing the job. If you do it better, you get a good tip. If you do it worse, you
Hey,
get
by the way, thanks for
a small tip.
I got to tip Tom. Thanks for having me, man. Great interview.
Like with a hooker, do you go, oh, that thing you do with your tongue? Here's 20%.
I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Let's get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow with Matt Mayoko. See ya.
And remember this, Tommy T. Cash and tickets is what it's all about.